Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Good evening racing fans and welcome back to NXTGEN Racing TV, live on YouTube, live on Facebook and live on Kick. This is round 3 of the championship and we're coming to you live from Canada, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. This is the GT3 League in its 7th season at NXTGEN Racing, hosted on Thursday nights. My name's Alex Everett, your commentator tonight, and we have got endurance racing ready for you tonight. The usual format of this championship is a sprint race and a feature race, but tonight it's just a singular race, a 2-hour endurance around this Circuit Gilles Villeneuve circuit. But a little bit about the series. NXTGEN hosts this GT3 championship as well as the NXTGEN Touring Car Championship and NXTGEN Legends League. The partners, affiliates and sponsors of NXTGEN Racing are as follows: PowerMaxed, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falconer PC and Doble Motorcycles. If you are interested in taking part in NXTGEN Racing races and championship, you feel free to scan the QR code on the lower left of our screen there to get access to NXTGEN Racing's Discord server. From there you can get involved in the community, you can speak to the admins, you can speak to the drivers, you can also join just as a racing fan or a NXTGEN fan yourself. Scan that and you'll get access to it. In this championship, it is catered for all skills of drivers. There are 3 categories: gold category, silver category and bronze category. The gold category catered for those drivers that are quickest in the field, middle tier for the silver category drivers, and the bronze tier is for the lesser experienced drivers. So whether you are an experienced iRacer or if you're inexperienced, this league and other leagues at NXTGEN Racing will be for you. And this is modern day GT3 cars, and these are the cars that are available for choice in this championship that include the Acura NSX, the Audi R8, the BMW M4, the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, the Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, the Lamborghini Huracan, the McLaren 720S, the Mercedes AMG and the Porsche 911. Drivers can change cars at any point this season, but it will result in a deduction of 50 points from their championship tally. And of course, there are a lot of tracks that we're going to be racing on. This is a 10-round calendar, and there are mixed formats throughout the championship. But we started 2 weeks ago at the Misano World Circuit in Italy for round 1 of the championship, and then last week we were at the Watkins Glen circuit in New York. We're not too far away, we're just north, but we're over the border in Canada, in Montreal, for the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, otherwise known as Montreal. And you'll notice the gold writing for Circuit Gilles Villeneuve tonight, as well as other rounds, and the gold star next to it, and that is to signal that this is a 2-hour endurance round. It's just a singular race, not the double headline racing night that we have on other nights, but it is just the one singular endurance racing to mix up the format throughout this championship. Round 4 next week will be at home in Great Britain for the Donington Park circuit, and then the final round of the first half of the championship will be the Circuit Zandvoort, new, revamped on iRacing, akin to the real-life version of Zandvoort we see today in Formula 1. After the halfway point, we'll be back with another 2-hour endurance, and that'll be at the Bathurst Mount Panorama circuit in Australia. We're back in Europe, in Portugal, in the Algarve region for the Portimao circuit for round 7, back in Britain for round 8 of the championship at Silverstone, and then we'll be back in Canada for round 9 of the championship at the Mosport circuit. And all roads lead to Le Mans, don't they? Well, if they don't, they should. That's the final round of the championship, hosted at Le Mans circuit for another 2-hour endurance to finish off this season in late May, to see us out of the spring and into the summer. A fantastic track we've got in store for us tonight. Traditionally a Formula 1 circuit, it very rarely hosts anything outside of Formula 1, the Porsche Carrera North America Cup and Formula 1 Academy, I believe. But the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve Montreal is on the Île Notre-Dame, the Notre-Dame Island, and we're in the Quebec state in Canada. And it's our first of 2 trips, as we mentioned earlier on, to Canada. This track is quite an old track, actually. Not many people realise it, but it was first built in 1978. And, of course, it was renamed to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in 1982 in honour of Gilles Villeneuve, who tragically lost his life that year in 82 at Zolder. This track is very, very unique. It is described as being like a street circuit. It is a temporary circuit at the end of the day, but it is described like a street circuit because of the tight corners and the walls close to the circuit edge at this track. And of course we can see it on the screen there now, the infamous Wall of Champions, which is the outer wall on the right as you exit the final chicane at this circuit, is named the Wall of Champions. And the reason is, well, champions seem to push so hard that they put their car into the wall there. I've done it on the sim, albeit not in real life, but champions to list: Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve, Jenson Button, Sebastian Vettel, and Ricardo Zonta, who you may be thinking is not a Formula 1 champion. Alex, don't be silly. No, he was an FIA GT champion, so technically a champion putting their name on that Wall of Champions. But this track, 14 turns, is the official count of this circuit. There are 8 to the right and 6 to the left. It's a 2.7 mile or 4.3 kilometre circuit. Not traditionally a GT circuit, but I got a feeling we're going to see some good racing tonight. And for it being an endurance round as well, it means that the pit stops are going to be crucial, because this track is really difficult to overtake on. So the 2 or 3 pit stops that we're going to see tonight are going to be crucial. It is a singular 2-hour endurance, or 120-minute race we're going to see tonight. And the grid for the race tonight is not formed by qualifying. So these 3 endurance rounds are an anomaly, if I can get my words right. The grid will be based on the championship order of the field within their categories. They'll be grouped in their categories, but the championship order will be reversed to decide the starting grid. And we'll go through the championship order very, very shortly, and that will determine the grid for our opening race, or only race of the night. Fuel loads for tonight, which is very, very intriguing in terms of strategy to keep an eye on, of course. They will start with a fuel load of 80%, and actually it's a maximum fuel capacity of 80%. They can't refuel to 100%. And there's plenty of bonus points on offer tonight as well. 2 bonus points per category if you get the fastest lap of the race. It's very, very important. But what about the championship standings, as I mentioned, heading into tonight? And remember, these will form the grid for tonight's race, reversed of each category. And of course, at the top of the table right now in our standings in gold category is Łukasz Sidor. In his first season at NXTGEN Racing GT3s, he leads the championship following a victory last time out in the feature race at Watkins Glen. He's led the championship for all rounds so far this season, but he's kept in close company, just 4 points behind our defending gold champion Benjamin McCluskey, with a win in the sprint race last time out at Watkins Glen. Stefan Wessels has not had the greatest of luck in the feature races so far this season, so we'll see how he gets on tonight. But good sprint race performances sees him 3rd in the championship heading into tonight. Harry Langford in 4th position with Jack Pittas, his teammate, behind in 5th. Jamie Dorey, a host of the Next Gen Touring Car Championship, is the 6th place man. 7th place to Ben Outra, with 8th place Mike Barber, Gavin Gardner in 9th, and Carlos Dayson had a pretty major and well talked about incident last time out at Watkins Glen in the feature race. He's back tonight, so we'll see how he gets on. And just as we mentioned that, there was someone in the Wall of Champions then. I think it might have been Andy Rooney, actually. So, yeah, maybe Andy Rooney, a future champion. Who knows? Who knows? Right, but anyway, we'll move on to the silver category championship standings here. Matthew Cheverton with a great start to the championship. 40 points in both rounds so far. He's won both feature races we've hosted this season, and he was 2nd in both sprint races, so a really, really good start to this championship. Jeffrey Kruger was going well as well. He won the sprint race at Misano, and Watkins Glen, but the feature race at Watkins Glen did not go so well. He loses a few points, 20 points behind Cheverton heading into tonight. Matthew Addy, good start to the championship, nice and consistent for him, likewise with Phil McDougall, third and fourth for them two drivers. Nigel Stock in 5th position with Mark Baker in 6th, Aaron Hobson 7th with Ian Manners in 8th, George Stone in 9th and Jason Rath rounding off the top 10 of the championship. Bronze category, and it's still a lead for Adam Wilson-Weir, albeit not a great round last time out at Watkins Glen. He did say in his interview after Misano he loves the technical circuit, and Watkins Glen isn't one of them. Tonight is a technical circuit. We'll see how Adam gets on tonight. But it was Danny Switzer who stole the headlines in the bronze category last time out with a win in the feature race, bringing home another victory for himself in that bronze category. He got so many last season, and we'll see how he gets this season. 10 points behind the top spot is Danny Switzer heading into one of his home rounds tonight. Gabriel Papaconstantino in 3rd position with Sammy Ariba in 4th and Simon Hunt in 5th. 6th place, a good round last time for Andy Chell in 6th position with Elwyn Sykes, the defending bronze champion. 7th position at the moment for him. Rob Savage in 8th with Stephen de Grevelier in 9th and Andy Rooney in 10th. There is an unclassified category, but they will be consisting of drivers who are not in categories. At the moment, that is Lee Horn. That will be a filter for drivers who are very much on a part-time basis in this championship, so there may be more to add as the season goes on. But the team's championship is the last table we'll show you before we head into the action. The race is starting in just over 2 minutes' time. But at the top of the standings, still holding the leader in the championship after one round, is Mission R, powered by Mords, and that's driven by Adam Wilson-Weir, George Stone and Łukasz Sidor. Of course, drivers 1 and 3 of that team are top of their championship categories. Aztec Racing with Ford Mustang have had a great start to the season, with Matthew Cheverton leading the silver category, of course, and Papaconstantino in the bronze categories in the top 3. 3rd place for CSA Team Wozer, consisting of Stefan Wessels, Jeffrey Kruger and Kyle Ustason. Of course, all of them in their respective categories have picked up wins this season, so a very good start to the season for them. Quettermass Motorsport in 4th with Andy Chell having a good round last time out. Likewise with Harry Langford, a good round at Watkins Glen last time, and Mike Barber. And Quettermass Motorsport 2, consisting of Jack Pittas, Ben Bennyworth and Simon Hunt, rounding off in 5th there. So that's the championship standings heading into tonight, and like I said, it will be reverse category standings to form the grid for tonight. So we'll go through the grid before we start the race. We'll have a little bit of time to get the grid read through, and there is no qualifying tonight. Like I said, the grid is based off the qualifying standings. So on the hour, 8 o'clock UK time, 2 minutes away, we'll be starting the race. And it'll be a 2-hour endurance, as we mentioned. So drivers out on the track at the moment. Stefan Wessels is out there, and let's have a look at who's the pace setters in each category before we head into the race. I was nearly going to say qualifying there, but nope, the race. It's just 0.003 of a second between Harry Langford and championship leader Łukasz Sidor at the top in practice there. Whereas in the silver category, Jeffrey Kruger, who's been one of the pace setters this season, is tucked in there in 1st position. I don't think... Oh, actually, yes, Matthew Cheverton is in the server. I think a later arrival, but Cheverton is racing tonight. And Adam Wilson-Weir, as I half predicted earlier on, leading the bronze category by over 1/4 of a second to John Berry, who was one of the pace setters last time out at Watkins Glen. So, we're in for an interesting race tonight, ladies and gentlemen. An endurance round, the first of the season. It is strategy that comes into play on these endurance rounds. At least 2 pit stops from all drivers. So it's about timing the pit stops, undercuts, overcuts, which are more effective on tracks such as this. That is what the drivers will be working out, or would have worked out already to this point. Adam Wilson-Weir getting a few more laps in, or finishing off his lap here before we head into the race. It's nervy times because you don't really get a recovery race in these rounds. You get one race, and if you fall far behind, you're spending the rest of the 2 hours making up that gap. But there's plenty of opportunities to that. We have seen races in the past where drivers have made up a lot of time and come back to get good results in these races. I can't quite remember one off the top of my head right now, but there have been. Okay, let's head into the race session, and we'll go through the grid ready for tonight's 2-hour endurance race. Remember, it is based on the championship standings of each category reversed. Okay, so let's start with front of the grid. It'll be the gold category, of course, and starting on the front row will be Sean Shute and Jake Pitt. Starting in third and fourth will be Corey Price and Stephen Bird, with Martin Hobson and Ben Bennyworth lined up on the third row. Fourth row is taken up by Jesse Payne-Wilkins and Gaz Williams, one of the many admins here at NXTGEN Racing. Carlo Stason in ninth position, with Gavin Gardner on the fifth row alongside him. Mike Barber and Ben Altria take up the sixth row in 11th and 12th. 13th and 14th taken up by Jamie Dory and Jack Pittas, with Harry Langford in 15th and Stefan Wessels in 16th. Championship leaders Ben McCluskey and Łukasz Sidor starting on the 9th row at the back of the gold category. Alejandro Yalate will start 19th on the grid overall on pole position for the silver category, with Alan McCain in 20th. Wesley Peels in 21st, with Jochen Seeger in 22nd. Paul Williams 23rd, with Lewis Mason in 24th. 25th, Jason Raff with George Stone in 26th, Ian Manners in 27th and Aaron Hobson 28th. Mark Baker in 29th with Nigel Stock in 30th. Phil McDougall and Matthew Addy in 32nd position, and at the back of the group of silvers is Jeffrey Kruger and Matthew Cheverton. For the bronze category, it will be Matt Gatter at the front with Michael Evangeli alongside. Jonathan Berry, with his sprint race win last time out at Watkins Glen, will start 37th, a very promising start position for him. Davide Favo in 38th. Wesley Lewin in 39th with Mark Sykes, Mr. Next Gen himself in 40th position, with Stein Vatens and Andy Rooney on the 21st row. Stephen de Gravelia 43rd, with 44th going to Rob Savage. Elwyn Sykes, defending bronze champion, 45th with Andy Chell alongside. Simon Hunt in 47th with Sammy Ariba in 48th. And at the back of the grid will be the championship leaders of bronze category, Gabriel Papaconstantino and Adam Wilson-Weir. 50 drivers will start this race tonight. We're very much looking forward to it. There they are, lined up near the final sector hairpin at this track. 14-turn circuit, and not traditionally an endurance circuit, not traditionally a GT3 circuit, but that's exactly why it's going to be interesting tonight. It is a step into the unknown in that sense. And the pace car will lead them off once the entire grid is ready to go. And they will start in their groups separated. So the gold category will start first, and then approximately 5 to 10 seconds later, the silver category will start, and then approximately 5 to 10 seconds later, the bronze category will start. Silver in the middle. And every time for these drivers, they sit on the grid. It's the drivers at the back of each of these grids, each of these categories, that have the majority of the work to do. They've got to defend their championship progress. They've got to get through the grid. And the driver that we know does that so well of this field is Ben McCluskey. He got so many great results last season in the endurance rounds from just being patient and getting through the packs. So, Sean Shute leads us off alongside Jake Pitt. And that is heading around the hairpin at the back end of the circuit, and we'll head up the casino straight here. Shortly start. Now, it's a very narrow chicane at the end of this, of course, where the Wall of Champions is. That's turns 13 and 14, and getting through that chicane side by side for these drivers can be very difficult, and that's why it's important that the categories start separately from one another. But it's the drivers at the back of the grid who are really going to struggle with getting through that chicane to start the race, particularly if the flag is waved early. It might be that we'll be able to get all drivers onto the start-finish straight before the lights go green. We'll have to find out. Now we're heading through. Sean Shute on the front row. Jake Pitt alongside, as I mentioned. Championship leaders Łukasz Sidor and Ben McCluskey are at the back of the grid here. Gold category is about to get going for their first endurance round of the season. And it is green. Away we go. And drivers already ducking out to get underneath other drivers heading into turn number 1 here. Bad start for Sean Shute as Jake Pitt is first into turn number 1. To the silver category, they're heading their way towards the start-finish line right now. It's Alan McCain and Alejandro Ylate at the front of the grid. The lights will go green for them now. And away they go. Ylate with a very, very good start. Not a good start for Alan McCain as they head into turn number 1. And drivers probably being very, very patient at this point. Bronze category, very split up in the middle there. Drivers watching their distance by the looks of it, but it's a very, very separated start as into turn number 1, Matt Gatter is the first to lead them through. Getting very wide there and taking the undercut there will be John Berry to take an immediate lead here. John Berry, one of the quickest drivers in the bronze category in practice. An early lead there, that'll be very, very helpful for him. Back to the gold category, and they're towards the end of the lap already. It's a short lap here at the Montreal Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and it's a good start for Jake Pitt there. Meanwhile, the championship protagonists, the main ones anyway, Łukasz Sidor has not moved up any places, but Ben McCluskey has made his way past Stefan Wettels. Still behind Harry Langford, but it's a good start for McCluskey relative to his championship rivals. Ylate first into the hairpin in the Mustang. 2 Mustangs at the front here. Ylate and Peels, who had a good start making his way past Alan McCain, who had a very slow getaway at the start of this race. Championship leader Matthew Cheverton, very good start for him. 9th place for him right there. He's made his way past a lot of cars early on already, with his main championship rival Kruger behind him. That's crucial at this point. Sean Shute and Corey Price side by side in this contact. Off goes Sean Shute and into the wall. That's heavy damage already. Let's get a quick replay of that to see exactly what happened from a bit further back. Side by side between him and that's Corey Price there. A bit of door-to-door contact. And then as they head into the corner, it looked like that Sean Shute got the better of the late braking, but turned into the corner and there's still a car on his inside. That's what it looked like. And he's going to struggle to get it back to the pits. And the driver's trying to avoid him there. And they've all gone into the wall there. I think that's the silver category that's just gone through. So they're compromised already with a car stranding in the middle of the field. And I think actually Sean Shute has reverted to the pits. But the damage is already done. There's drivers who are slowing. That's Wesley Peels touring on the left side of the track there in the silver category. He was doing alright. He was in 2nd place to that point. Real unfortunate start to the race for him, and not really his fault. But meanwhile, in the bronze category, getting it all sideways and squirrely there is Jonathan Berry heading out of the 2nd chicane on this circuit here. He's got Michael Evangeli not too far away from here, and they're breaking away from the pack. I believe back there is Elwyn Sykes, and we've got a little bit of an issue with the timing screen there. The bronze category are not in the right order there, but it'll eventually sort itself out. Back to the gold category. Now, Stephen Bird is definitely a driver to look out for. 3rd place right now. Stephen Bird was 2nd in the championship last season in the gold category. Fairly sure he was anyway, if my memory serves me wrong. I've got 50 drivers to remember. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. But Stephen Bird, needless to say, he was there winning races last season and he was there contending for the championship last season. He hasn't had the best of starts to this season, but he is very high up in the grid right here, and he is 3rd place right now, so it's a good opportunity for him to try and convert a win and get his championship bid back on track. There's already a driver in the pits. That's Elwyn Sykes in the pits. Might have been damage from an incident on that lap we just saw. Well, there's no incidents that's come up on there, so a very early stop, an unscheduled stop for him. And he is also a CSA driver, so not a great start to this race for him. Andy Chell is also in the pits. He had a great round last time out at Watkins Glen, so not such a good start for the Quatermass driver here. But it's a long race, plenty to go. Championship protagonist still back here, slowly catchy monkey, as they say, and Benjamin McCluskey, highest of the 3 main championship protagonists in the gold category. But it'd be a game of chess here. Who gets the moves done quickest? Fastest lap for Corey Price. Good start for him, as we're seeing coming out of the pits there. I believe that was Elwyn Sykes heading back out onto the track. Rotten start to the season for Elwyn Sykes. Bronze category champion. At the moment, it might be outgoing bronze category champion the way his season's going. But there's plenty of rounds left. Plenty of time to make up points and positions. Side by side, going into turn number 1. That's Alejandro Ylate being passed by Alan McCain into the lead of this race. And here's how he got it done. Heading out of the final chicane. Bad exit from Ylate there, but a very good exit from McCain. He's able to position his car on the left and status intent heading into turn number 1, the Senna S. Late braking, up the inside and through. Brilliant move from McCain to take the lead in this race. Matthew Cheverton here in 7th place, championship leader heading into tonight, and that Mustang getting very out of shape heading into the chicane here. And just in front, Matthew Addy has also had a very good start to this championship. 3rd place in the standings heading into tonight, and he's trying to make up his way into the top 5 past Jochen Seeger at the moment. Out of the chicane. It's a very difficult track to overtake on, as I mentioned. We just saw an exemplar move from McCain to get himself into the top position in silver category, and Carlos Stason moving slowly and just getting in the way of Łukasz Sidor there. And them two had a bit of beef last time out at Watkins Glen. I wonder if that was a little bit of a revenge move there from Stason. I'm not speculating. But yeah, let's see what happened to Carlos Stason. No events have come up there off tracks or incidents or anything like that. Let's just see from here what has happened to Carlos Stason. He's heading out of the hairpin now. I wonder if he had a slowdown penalty. Is this at the point where he started getting overtaken? Yes. He's moved over to the side. I think he's had a slowdown penalty. I believe that clears that up. And he's dropped a lot of positions as a result. Łukasz Sidor has dropped another place as well. Jack Pittas has moved his way past. So Łukasz Sidor still at the back of the gold category for the moment. And you've got Carlos Stason here making his way back past Stefan Wessels, and a move here from Łukasz Sidor. As we're seeing drivers rubbing up against the wall there, heading out of the chicane. Yeah, a couple of swaps of places there. Stason's back past Stefan Wessels. I wonder if Wessels had a slowdown penalty as well. But we got McCluskey there with a move on the inside, going into the hairpin on Harry Langford. And it's still side by side between the two of them, but McCluskey will definitely have the better position of them. He's also got his teammate Jamie Dory, who's going to help him down the straight here, but he's through. McCluskey's up into 12th place. He's clearing his rivals at the moment, and he's doing what he did so well last season, which is getting through the pack in these endurance races and getting his way slowly but very surely to the front. Bit of a battle going on up here as well. That's Gaz Williams looking all around Martin Hobson. That was Stephen de Gravelia moving to the side there, getting lapped in the bronze category there. Okay, so back to the silver category. Brilliant couple of laps here from Alan McCain. He opens up a 3-second lead in the silver category to Alejandro Ylate here. Oh, and something's happened to Stefan Wessels. He's into the pits. He's escaped out to the pits. He's had an incident. So this is what's happened. This is Łukasz Sidor behind him. Side by side now, heading into turn number 1. Sidor's giving it a wide berth around the outside there. As we head round the hairpin out of the centre S's, he's slow and he comes to a stop. Not entirely sure what's happened to Stefan there. If anyone on the CSA team is watching, please clear that up for us. The mystery, I mean, not the car on the track. But we were talking about the silver category before we cut away there. The top 3 is McCain, Ylate and George Stone, who is right behind Alejandro at the moment. The Costa Rica driver under pressure from George Stone. I love that camera angle, nice and low on the curve there, watching the cars get close to the wall on the outside there. Now there's plenty of walls here at Montreal that drivers rub against. It's a very tricky track, particularly with all the high curbs on this circuit as well, because you get on those high curbs at an awkward angle, it will just spit the car out and put you into the wall. You've got to be super careful and super accurate on this track. Bronze category, and I think our timing screen has sorted itself out now. Michael Evangeli's in the lead. We've got Jonathan Berry back here in third position. So Jonathan Berry got passed by Rob Savage. I'm just trying to find exactly where he lost the lead, but this would be a move that happened for second place not too long ago. I think Rob Savage has literally just moved into the lead as well, so we'll go to that replay very shortly as well. And I think that might be a slowdown penalty. It is. Quite common on this circuit, and this is a move for the lead that's probably just happened about 20 seconds or so ago. Our Mission R drivers swapping places. I think it might have been another slowdown penalty, either that or a very tactical switch. But we have a new leader in the bronze category. It is Rob Savage leading this bronze category, and it is at the moment a Mission R 1, 2, 3. The new team, they'll like that very much. Championship leader is here in sixth position. That's Adam Wilson-Weir, another Mission R driver. A very strong contingent of them in the bronze category this season. A lot of them have headed over to the Mission R team from Quatermass. Both teams fielding a lot of drivers, 6 drivers in the Quatermass team, and in the Mission R team, 3 teams, 9 drivers. Now, George Stone has had an incident. Here's a replay of it. And he's following Alejandro Yolate. He's be heading into the hairpin. So I wonder if some contacts happened between him and the Costa Rican driver. Up the inside he goes. Oh, he's really outbroke himself there, so it's not exactly a crash, but he overshot the corner there, and he got retaken by Yolate. And all this is going to allow McCain, well, I would say it's going to allow McCain to stretch away, but actually, them two in second and third place, Yolate and Stone, have responded. They're within 2.5 seconds, well, they were within 2.5 seconds, but they are closing the time on McCain. Lewis Mason is lurking around here, the Aztec Racing driver in fourth place. And a battle here brewing between Jake Pitt and Corey Price, both in the Porsche. And we'll see how things get on between them eventually, but Corey Price, not mentioned much of him this season, not been in the headlines, but going for the lead in this endurance race, and having such a healthy lead for these two early on is going to be very, very beneficial for them later on in the race through the final chicane. Corey Price not taking anywhere near as much curb as Jake Pitt, which could end up being a good thing because it keeps the car more stable going through and out of that chicane. Almost identical times, around half a second between Pitt and Price at the end of that lap in terms of lap times. And it's worth keeping an eye on fastest laps of the race as well, because fastest lap of the race gets 2 bonus points. And that's Corey Price at the moment in the gold category, Alan McCain in the silver category, and Adam Wilson-Weir, championship leader, in the bronze category. Back here, Langford following McCluskey. We've also got Jesse Payne-Wilkins there, following Gavin Gardner. There's a big crocodile of gold category cars here, and they're not making moves because it is so difficult to make a move here at Montreal. Chicane. All of them cars going through, and a lot of Mustangs amongst that crop of drivers as well. Now Simon Hunt has had an incident. He spun at the final chicane. It might have been the wall of champions that he collided with. Simon Hunt's had a pretty decent start to the season as well. He's following Stein Vatens here. As we head into the chicane, it was a very... I thought it was going to be a diving move, but into the pits goes Stein Vatens. And Simon Hunt just got a little bit out of shape there and lost the rear end as it came round. Very easily done on this circuit. Now, Stein Vatens is in the pits. This could be a scheduled pit stop. a very quick stop in the box as well. Oh, look at this battle going on here in the silver category. At the front of them is George Stone. Oh, and he's just nipped his way back into third place there, ahead of Lewis Mason. We got Cheverton in there as well, Matthew Addy and Jeffrey Kruger. So there's championship battles in here as well. The top three in the championship are 5th, 6th and 7th, 3rd, 4th and 5th in this battle we're watching. Love hearing an echo of myself. But this battle, silver category here, Matthew Cheverton right in the middle of them. He's heading the lead of the championship battalions here, ahead of Addy, ahead of Kruger. Addy is very close to Kruger in the championship, but 20 points between Cheverton and Kruger. So Cheverton can relax a little bit knowing that he's got a very safe championship lead at the moment. He can't afford any incidents. That'd be the one thing he's conscious of. And racers be racers. They'll want to obliterate anyone in their category, anyone in their race. That's what racers are like at the end of the day. And McCain has had a pretty good couple of laps here. He's broken well away from Alejandro Ulate. 6 seconds clear now. So the last couple of laps must have been very good from Alan McCain. And that's the showing. 2 and a bit seconds clear. And now we've got a move potentially from Cheverton on Lewis Mason to the inside. And Matthew Addy's trying to follow Cheverton through. Tight on the apex there. Very slow on the inside of that hairpin. And a bad exit from Matthew Addy. He loses out to Jeffrey Kruger, who nips around the outside, following Lewis Mason round. Oh, and a big brush to the wall there. That might have damaged the car, but that was very close to the wall. In fact, it did hit the wall. Kruger's on the outside of Mason, heading into the chicane. Who's going to be the latest? There's not much wiggle room to be later, but side by side through the chicane, they make contact, but neither hit the wall. And a good exit here from Addy. Might have been what he needed, but he didn't get it. Jason Raff is now going to join in this fight. But Kruger and Addy here, battling here, is encouraging Cheverton to break away. Addy's still alongside, but he's now on the bad side of the overtaking opportunity here. Now Kruger has got through, and a little bit of contact there to get through, but I imagine it was just one of those side-by-side scuffles into the chicane. Oh, someone's hit the wall heading out of the corner there. I think that might have been George Stone, as he's just ahead of... No, it was whoever's just ahead of Matthew Cheverton there. I believe that is Davide Favo in the bronze category being lapped by Cheverton. Cheverton is making his way towards the top three here. He's really stamping his name on that silver category right now. A flash of the lights there to the back mark to say, come on, get out of my way. I'm lapping you. Through the chicane. Oh, and there was very close battling there between Ulate and Stone there. And I thought there was a little bit of contact and Ulate was going to go round. But it was a very shallow exit from the corner there from both of them. And it's allowing Cheverton to really close up on them. And it's also going to be letting Alan McCain stretch away. He's got a near 10-second lead now as Alan McCain. We've got big scuffles here in the gold category as well. Look at this. That's Gaz Williams on the inside of Jesse Payne Wilkins, I think. No, it's Ben Oucher. He's on the inside of. Side by side, it's a head into the first chicane here. Oh, they're trying to get through side by side. Lovely fair racing there, but Ben Oucher gets in front of Gaz Williams. We've also got Gavin Gardner here, trying to get to the inside of Gaz Williams, and he was not giving much room there to his teammates, but just enough room to allow them to go through the corner. But still on the inside is Gaz Williams, and look who's nipped to the inside. Getting the sneaky snatchback there is Ben McCluskey, and past Gavin Gardner into 9th position. Brilliant, clever thinking there from Ben McCluskey. Also trying to wriggle his way through there was Harry Langford, I could see. But Łukasz Sidor has really turned up the notch here. He's trying to keep up with Ben McCluskey, his championship rival. And he's just following the moves through here there to keep up with the other drivers. Now, still close action. And Matthew Cheverton, while we were looking at the gold category there, has made his way into 2nd place. This is how he got 4th place done. Heading into the chicane. Very late braking. Keeps it off the curbs. Nice exit here. And this is his move on George Stone, who moves over. I presume that was a slow down penalty. But what about Ulate for 2nd place? He's quite a way behind. So there we go, he moves over. Sort of. It might have been a slow down penalty as well for Ulatte, so it's very easily done here at this circuit, if that's in fact what is happening. Brilliant battling all around, and when you do get a battle involved on this track, it is great to watch. Bronze category, we'll pick on them for a little bit. Rob Savage in the lead of this category at the moment, a nice healthy lead of near 6 seconds. Rob Savage hasn't won a race in this championship yet. He obviously took part last season in the bronze category, but racing for Quatermass Motorsport, but no wins to his name last season, so prime opportunity for him here. Papa Constantino and into the wall goes Evangeli, and just avoiding him was Papa Constantino, so Evangeli going into the wall of champions there, and he's going to lose a lot of speed and potentially lose the top 3 to Wilson-Weir and Papa Constantino. So there we go, 2 and 1 in the championship, and now 2 and 3 in the race. They've got a long way to catch up with Rob Savage, but they can get it done here. Adam Wilson-Weir has a very healthy lead in the championship, but he'll want to beat his closest rival for the moment, Papa Constantino, who was at the front of the championship battling last season in bronze category as well, and is doing so again this season. Elsewhere on the track, still very close in this gold category here. Gaz Williams just ahead of Ben McCluskey here. And there's also Gavin Gardner here, holding up Łukasz Sidor. Now the next gen drivers, even though it's their own series, will be working together to keep other drivers behind them. Łukasz Sidor would be one of them that Ben McCluskey might be on the radio saying, keep him behind you. George Stone is in the pits, I believe. Now he did pick up a little bit of damage, I believe, from brushing the wall earlier on. As we're seeing Lewis Mason and Matthew Addy side by side, battle for 5th as they head into turn number 1 there. That's Jeffrey Kruger right in front of him and Ulatte, so Kruger might be able to nip into the top 3 very, very shortly. But also Matthew Addy trying to get himself in the top 3 as well. Got to keep up with Cheverton, got to keep up with Kruger to maintain the battle in the Silver Championship. There's a couple of drivers in the pits. Michael Evangeli had the damage rubbing up against the wall earlier on. He's in the pits as well. But drivers will start thinking about their scheduled pit stops soon. They normally roll around about 25 to 32 minutes in this series, and they can only refuel to 80% tank, whereas last season I think they could refuel to 100%. That's the rule I seem to remember. So this season it is refuel to 80% only. It might require another pit stop later on in the race, as we're seeing a move from Kruger to the inside of Ulatte. Nice conventional move into the hairpin. Up into 3rd place goes the CSA driver. Full tilt drivers. No tilt from them. Good performance tonight. Jesse Payne-Wilkins, 3rd in the championship in Season 5 of the Next Gen Racing Proto and GT3 Championship. And it was his teammate of the time, Karol Pachalka, who won the championship that season. But Full Tilt doing very well tonight. One of the only, in fact the only Lamborghini driver in the field is Jesse Payne-Wilkins. At least the flag's getting waved for the Lambo fans. But still, a race lead held by Jake Pitts and Corey Price. They're at the front of the field. No threat at the moment from Stephen Bird, but a 1-2 for them at the moment. We'll see how pit stops affect things a little bit later on. And leading the silver category, a 13-second lead at the moment for Alan McCain. Brilliant, brilliant start to this race for him. The driver with the least amount of luck in this series. I'm not saying anything. We'll see how much Matthew Cheverton can, if he can, close in on Alan McCain. Alan McCain was a gold category driver last season, but so too was Matthew Cheverton. Battle here between Lewis Mason, not on the right side of Ulatte, heading into the hairpin, but will he try the late brakes? Yes, he will. He'll get to the inside, and Ulatte will give up plenty of room there. And through goes Lewis Mason, and actually on the undercut there, trying to sneak his way through was Jason Raff. trying to make his way into 6th position. Still close in the bronze category between Papa Constantino and Adam Wilson-Weir. And I tell you what, I'm enjoying GT3s at this circuit. I imagine behind the wheel and driving them, it's probably a nightmare from what I can tell here. But watching these cars around this track is incredible. Really enjoying it at the moment. This is close for the top 2 in gold category. Corey Price, oh, I thought he was going to go for a move there. But we've got Nigel Stock just up ahead there. Nigel Stock moves over to let by 1 and 2 in gold category. And Nigel Stock there has potentially had a pit stop already. He's down in 14th, but he was running in the top 10 not too long ago in the silver category. So it might be that he's pitted already. And we are going to see drivers potentially get into the pits. Oh, look at all this. The full tilt drivers side by side, but further back, Sidor is in front of Ben McCluskey, so that has happened somewhere along the lines. We'll get a replay of that very shortly, but Sidor taking back the lead of the championship battles there. Oh, and oh, look at the Lamborghini there. Oh, the Lamborghini trying to get in the pits there. That was Jesse Payne-Wilkinson. He did, but he's very much forced on the grass by whoever was alongside there. Him and Jamie Dory into the pits. But let's continue with these up here. Look at this, side by side between Gaz Williams and Ben Altra, both in the Mustang as they head into turn number 2 there. Łukasz Sidor, the championship leader, right behind them as well. But let's just quickly find out what happened between Łukasz Sidor and Ben McCluskey, if I can find the overtake. There it is. This is how that happened between the 2 championship rivals, and it looks like it was a move into the hairpin. Sidor is the car that's orange, black and white, and McCluskey is just ahead of him, so heading into the hairpin. McCluskey had to brake a little bit harder with Gaz Williams right in front, and that allowed Sidor to just sneak through. It's been some fierce battling in the gold category in this group of cars. Some of them have broken off into the pits now. That's Jesse Payne-Wilkins and Jamie Dory. Gaz Williams heads this battle now. Of course, we've lost Stefan Wessels from this race. He's retired. He has not headed back out onto the track, which means he's going to lose a lot of points. Drivers are going to start nipping into the pits, and it's a very, very tricky pit lane to negotiate because you can go flat out into that box, which you can see a lot of drivers have already done, including Gaz Williams and Ben Altra. And you've got to be so careful of the drivers in front of you, and equally you've got to be careful of drivers behind you. It can be quite a chaotic experience going into the pits here at Montreal. And we have our race leaders in the pit as well. That's Jake Pitt and Corey Price. But staying out is Łukasz Sidor and Ben McCluskey and Carl Oosthuizen. Now, fuel saving, is it going to be such a thing this season? I mean, we're down to 80% maximum fuel capacity for these cars. So is that going to mean that they're going to have to fuel save? Potentially. I mean, if the drivers can get themselves to the half an hour point, realistically, it means they're going to have a less than 3-stop race. That's what's in my head at the moment. I'm learning this just as much as you are, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a brand new format to this endurance racing we got here at NXTGEN Racing. And this is our calendar for the season. Of course, we're here in round 3, but next week we're back to the sprint and feature race format. 20-minute sprint race and 60-minute feature race, and that'll be at Donington Park, one of my favourite circuits to drive, so I'm very much looking forward to next week's round there. So we'll see Łukasz and Ben come into the pits now. Yes, we will. Oh, yeah, take some speed heading into the pit lane now, and Ben McCluskey very, very late on the brakes there, getting right up close to Sidor. Heading into the pits, trying to maximise his pit entry. Carl Oosthuizen carries on. Enough fuel to do another lap. Now we've got Jake Pitt here, heading around. Now there won't be enough laps for him to lose the lead, but he's actually broken away a little bit from Corey Price with the pit stops there. But it'll be the likes of Gaz Williams that will want to get the back ahead of Sidor and McCluskey, and it remains to be seen if being in the pits later or earlier is more beneficial on this track or not. Still in the pits, still in the box is McCluskey and Sidor. Here comes Gaz Williams. Now they're moving out of their box, are McCluskey and Sidor, but it is a short dash. They go straight to turn number 2 to the drivers heading out of the pits, but Gaz Williams is still in front. There they are, back out on the track. I think they've actually lost a few places here, have the two of them. They have. They've fallen behind Jamie Dory. They nip back out. Langford has slotted in between Sidor and McCluskey. Oh, and they rejoin, and it's a big scuffle of cars here, rejoining the traffic. But Jamie Dory has got in front of the pair of them. They have not got the jump on anyone, but Ben Altria turns around and just narrowly avoids the traffic there. But that's a spin for Ben Altria, and he loses touch with the field. This is how he did it. So heading through the corner, yeah, the rear end just gives way, and Łukasz Sidor had to stamp on his brakes to avoid making the incident worse for Ben Altria there, and somehow everyone else avoided him. But that is race very much compromised for Ben Altria on cold tyres, just losing the rear end. And that has actually really split up the field here. Ben McCluskey has dropped a long way off of Łukasz Sidor here. Well, not a long way, but he has dropped some time from the championship leader. Carlos Station's in the pits, so where's he going to rejoin? He was behind the likes of McCluskey before the pit stops happened. But you've got to say, Sidor is lucky there not to get any damage. No contact whatsoever with Ben Altria. Very lucky. It was very good reactions from him. As Carlos Station leaves the pits and heads back out on track. He'll rejoin behind Mike Barber there for 13th position. It looked like he was on the white line there, which is frowned upon on iRacing. They do pick it up. I might have been wrong. It might just been the angle we were looking at it from. Right, silver category. Now, we've been looking at the gold category for a long time here, and I can see that the standings here have changed quite a bit for the silver drivers. Alan McCain still leads. There's a 7-second lead from Phil McDougall. I think Phil did come into the pits a little bit earlier. Let's just see what lap he did pit on. Nah, he was lap 3, yeah. So I think McDougall is out of touch in terms of strategy, but in second place on the track at the moment. To see if he can make that work as the race goes on. Matthew Addy, I would say, is net second at the moment, and he's ahead of his rivals Kruger and Cheverton. So Cheverton's not had a good round of pit stops there, or a good couple of laps around the pit stops, should we say. So he's dropped down to 5th there, probably net 4th place. It's close between these drivers. Addy, Kruger and Cheverton, all championship rivals. Rooney's had an instant. Oh, and going wide there is Sammy Ariba. And something's happened between the two Mission R drivers. Here they are heading out of the Wall of Champions corner. And that's Rooney we're looking at there. Through goes, I think that was Simon Hunt on. No, it was Jonathan Berry on the outside. No, it wasn't, sorry. Oh, and there was a little bit of contact between him and the Aztec driver, whoever it was there. And it just sends Andy Rooney into the wall. And then Sammy Ariba, whoa, trying to get back into the corner. And there's a car on his inside. So that's a bad corner or two for Mission R right there. Ariba and Andy Rooney really compromised in this race now. Adam Wilson-Weir, second place. Strong performance round 1, of course. Winning both races, maximum points, but then Watkins Glen didn't go quite as well. But right here, he's doing good. From the back of the grid, up to second place right now. And his closest championship rival heading into tonight is Danny Switzer, who at his home race is not racing. Maybe at the next Canadian round, who knows. But Danny Switzer was very much a part-timer last season as well, so I wonder if the same's going to happen this season. We'll have to see. But Rob Savage did have a very healthy lead in this category. He now doesn't. Michelin driver being caught by his teammate, but there's 2 cars between Savage and Wilson-Weir, and they are 2 silver category drivers. Now the category drivers, if they're mixed, are encouraged not to get too feisty with one another, but they can battle. Overall positions do not benefit points of team or driver, but you've got to get through drivers, or round, so I say, drivers in other categories to get yourself closer to the rivals in your category. Excuse me, to the inside. In an attempt there was Aaron Hobson on Jochen Siegert. And Adam Wilson-Weir, yeah, flashing his lights there. He seems a little bit stressed with the 2 silver drives in front of him, and just past them is his rival for the race win. Gabriel Papagostino was having a good race earlier on. He was 2nd place, I believe, at one point, and he's dropped down quite a bit now. 5th place. He's not too far behind 3rd place Stein Vatens. And Mark Sykes, haven't mentioned him much this race, or this season really. He's having a really good race. 4th place for him in the McLaren. Okay, so we have Jake Pitt still leading the race from Corey Price, who has caught up quite a bit in these last laps or so. And Stephen Bird has dropped off quite a bit. I was mentioning earlier on that it's worth monitoring Stephen Bird to see how much he can catch up with Jake Pitt and Corey Price as the race goes on. That's not happening at the moment, but Bird is still in a very, very good position. 3rd place, good points for him. But this might be a race very much between Jake Pitt and Corey Price, both drivers who have not won in the gold category yet this season, or ever actually. Jake Pitt 2 seasons ago was battling for the championship win in the silver category. He frantically flashes his lights there at Stephen de Gravelia to lap him. And past the back marker they go. They got a very healthy lead, and I just wonder if Corey Price is driving the wheels off that thing to try and get to 1st place, or if he's just letting the laps tick by, saving a little bit of fuel, sitting in the slipstream here as well. There's plenty of opportunities later in the race. That might be what it is. Sidor's still ahead of the main championship rivals here. You can safely say that Langford will join that battle for the top 3 now in the championship, with Wessels in the retirement for tonight's race. Come back to this battle a little bit later on when it brews a little bit more. I do think we're going to see quite a few more pit stops tonight. These endurance races ended up being 2 stop strategies last season. I think the fuel change for this season will enable them to be 3. And if you don't save enough fuel, could be 4. So that's going to be the challenge, is to do this race in the least amount of pit stops possible. And we've got battling here between McCluskey and Langford, swapping places there. And Langford's going to get through and pass McCluskey here. That's a crucial move, championship-wise. There's a big haul of points as well for endurance races as well. McCluskey can't contest there. Langford's through, and this is a repeat of how it happened. In fact, we have to go back even further than that. Yeah, we're not able to see how that actually converted between the two. But McCluskey is having a bit of a rough time of it since the pit stops. He's just not been able to... Well, since just before the pit stops. He's lost out to Sidor, he's lost out to Langford now as well. It's a long race, he's still in the top 10. And like I was saying about the point system earlier on, I'm just going to read out the point system. Might be able to get a graphic of it on the screen for future races. But from the positions of first place down to 8th place, each position is separated by 5 points. So it starts at 50 points for the win, and then it goes down to 15 points for 8th place. So each place you can make up when you break into that top 8 is really crucial in terms of championship points. So that's where you want to be, but there are points available from first down to 15th. It's worth mentioning. In the silver category here, McCain still leads. The gap has dropped a little bit between him and Phil McDougall, but oh no, it's increased, sorry, it's increased. So good job to McCain. He's having a really good run out there at the moment. Touch wood everyone. It's Alan McCain we're talking about here. He just can't get the luck. But tonight's going okay. He's driving seriously well. You're watching through the chicane there. Nice and neat over the first curb, avoiding the second curb, because that's the one that can really spit you out into the outer curb and towards the wall. But Phil McDougall is going to need a pit stop, I think, in the next few laps or so, because he pitted very early on in this race. And in third place here is Jeffrey Kruger. He's managed to make his way past Matthew Addy. Get back that third place and net second place. Matthew Cheverton's dropping back a little bit. He's still within touching distance and can make up that gap potentially. But he's dropping back a little bit. It was looking very promising for Cheverton not too long ago, but his pace just hasn't been there since. That's the main battle to look out for in the silver category. Meanwhile, in the bronze category, Adam Wilson-Weir is right on the tail of Robert Savage, the race leader. So we mentioned Rob Savage hasn't won a race yet in NXTGEN GT3, and it's not looking good at the moment, as Adam Wilson-Weir is really close to pouncing and taking the lead of this race. Quite a gap between Wilson-Weir and Vatens as well, meaning that his top two / lead here is relatively safe. And they've got a little bit of a slipstream up ahead as well from Alejandro Ulate. He's dropped down to 12th place in category, in silver category. But we'll be towing along these two Mission R drivers, and that'll be helping out Savage a little bit, keeping him all the more safe from Wilson-Weir for the time being. It's a very technical circuit, and you can really get your moves done by getting good exits from these corners. And I think that's what's made tonight so exciting, actually, is you can alternate your lines and variate your lines from through and out of these corners here, and work your moves on the drivers ahead of you. Plenty of variation there means you can try different things on the drivers. Head into the chicane, no move yet from Wilson-Weir. We've also got Matthew Addy very, very close still to Jeffrey Kruger. And these two drivers, like I said, 5 points between the position for third and the position for fourth. Third place would get 40 points and 35 points for fourth position. So it's a big difference and will really make a difference to the championship. Particularly in the later races. And especially at drop rounds, You know, if you're scoring good points in the endurance rounds, that means they won't serve as your drop rounds, basically, because in the sprint and feature race there's more room to mess up, there's more room to have smaller points count. I think we got a good battle here between Mason and Stock. Mason getting the better of it for the time being, and the Acura gets in front of the Ferrari of Nigel Stock there, into 7th place. Still close here between Jake Pitt and Corey Price. Both Aztec drivers as well, so that's worth pointing out. They're not in the same livery, but they are Aztec drivers, so they'll somewhat have to work together here. Corey Price, really not far away from Jake Pitt. Probably the closest it's been. Now, let's see how much of a slipstream he can get down the main straight here. They're both in Porsches, so they'll be fairly level on pace. This is a fixed setup series, remember. The only thing you can change on these cars is the brake bias. You're not allowed to change ride height, wing angle, nothing like that. Heading into turn number 1. Corey Price. Oh, a little bit of, not quite a nudge on the rear, but getting very, very close to Jake Pitt there. And I think now might be the time where Corey Price might have lost patience and he might be wanting to try and move if he hasn't already. Good exit from the chicane there, getting close to the wall, but a very good exit. Nice and tight to the rear, but just about guarding the inside there on the exit of the sweeping right-hander there was Jake Pitt, making sure that Price didn't go for the dive bomb move. But where your moves can be done is in the chicane, sorry, at the hairpin. Let's see if Corey Price can set that up here with a good line through the chicane here. You know what? He is close. Will this be a diving move going into the hairpin here? No, it won't. Corey Price stays behind. I wonder if they are working together here, you know. They are teammates at the end of the day. And I guess they'll be keeping one eye on their relative as well. Where is Stephen Bird relative to them? Apologies, so that had to go on mute for just a second, ladies and gentlemen, to clear the throat. But they'll be keeping an eye on their relative, keeping an eye on Stephen Bird, just making sure that the gap between them and him is either growing or staying. As teammates, they'll be making sure of that, because there's still quite a long way to go in this race, still well over an hour. And they've got to get through the next line of pit stops. They've got to be wary of rain as well, because I don't think there's much or any chance of rain. Certainly doesn't suggest it in our weather app there. But that's something that can really throw a cat amongst the pigeons, is if random rain does come along at any point. And a healthy lead likewise here with Alan McCain. I would say he's got a net 14 or 15 second lead actually, because McDougall's on an alternate strategy, as we know. In fact, McDougall will not really be pitting that much earlier, but he'll have the extra stop, that's the only thing. But if Alan McCain can save the fuel and get it beyond the half-an-hour milestones in this race, that will definitely secure a 3-stop race for himself. Wilson-Weir has made his way past and into first place. It happened while we were watching the goal category just a moment ago. This is how he would have got it done. This is Rob Savage ahead of him. Heading out of number 2, turn number 2. And Savage just lets him go. Might be a slow down penalty, it might be tactics. It's quite a lot of that tonight, where either with teammates letting each other go or slow down penalties. But equally, there have been some seriously good moves as well. Oh, I think we have a swap of the lead here in gold category. Corey Price is on the inside of Jake Pitt, and he's through. He is through. Are we going to see a challenge from Jake Pitt back at him? Don't think we are. So let's see how that was set up. There's a driver just ahead. Yep, that compromised Jake Pitt. He had to get on the brakes and had to avoid. And straight down the middle goes Corey Price. Brilliant, brilliant opportunistic move there. And I think that was Jochen Seeger. Jake Pitt probably feel a bit aggrieved that Jochen Seeger didn't get out the way sooner of them two. But now the lead swaps hands for the first time in this race, actually. Corey Price leads his first lap here at NXTGEN Racing GT3 League. I was going to switch over there, but Phil Madugo's out of the pits. 12th place. And that is his second stop of the night. Other drivers will get at least another 3 or 4 laps in before they need to come into the pits. Alan McCain will be keeping a measure of his gap between himself and Madugo and Kruger, who's 15 seconds back. Albeit Kruger, Addy and Cheverton have been battling for the majority of the race here. But Kruger has broken away quite a bit from Matthew Addy and Cheverton in the last few laps. Seems to be the quicker of the 3. If we monitor the fastest laps of the race, as well as still Alan McCain with the fastest lap of the race. And the Stormers, the leaders of this race, will be walking away with, as it stands anyway, with maximum points, 52 points out of tonight, which is a 7-point gap to whoever finishes in second, which is crucial. Into the hairpin here, and McCluskey is isolated on the outside here of Langford and Jamie Dory. And Langford might have got an undercut move here on McCluskey to get back past him. Not quite, he's tucked back in behind. McCluskey's up to 8th here. And Łukasz Sidor is well down the order. Well, not well down the order, he's fallen behind. Let me see if we've... Well, we have missed something. Let's just see if something major has happened to Łukasz. Yeah, something's happened to Łukasz Sidor here, so let's just review that. If the replay wants to work. So here we go. Łukasz is on his own here. I just wonder if there was a slowdown penalty. Yeah, by the looks of it, he's had a slowdown penalty, and he's dropped back loads of places there. That's how deadly the slowdown penalties can be at this track. He's dropped behind McCluskey and Langford. Jamie Dory's had an incident as well. This is McCluskey getting past him. It says Dory's crashed. Now I'm not sure if he has or if he's just gone really slow on the outside of corner, serving a slowdown maybe. No, there is contact and he's spun round by Langford. And that's dropped him down a load of positions. Now let's just get another shot of that. Let's get that from the angle of Langford. There we go, there's Jamie Dory up ahead and he's trying to let by his teammate clearly. Trying not to get in the way too much now. Langford sees the opportunity to get alongside at the centre S here. And it is very hard to tell who had the corner there, like in terms of who was in front or not. Oh, Łukasz Sidor's connection seems a bit wobbly there. I wonder if that was just a one-off blip there. But that's not what you want to see. The internet disconnection is the sim racing equivalent of the engine blowing up. Of course, I know that from last time out at Watkins Glen. Yeah, that's not what you want in a sim race. But that might have just been a little one-off for Lucas there. Seems okay for now, touch wood. So the leading driver in the gold category has changed hands yet again, with McCluskey now being the leader of the 3 main championship protagonists we've been keeping an eye on. But the way things are going, this really does change things. I mean, if McCluskey finishes where he is right now, 20 points he'll score, and 52 points will be scored by Corey Price at the top of the table. Now, Corey Price is not threatening a championship bid at the moment. Actually, neither is Jake Pitt for that matter. But so yeah, championship-wise, they'll stay relatively safe actually. But there's a lot of potential points up for grabs, and this will be one of the lesser rounds if things stay as they are, because they are struggling to get themselves up the order. Credit to the other guys in front. They're really, really holding on very, very well from the drivers who've traditionally been very, very quick in this series. Bit of a three-way battle brewing here between Bennyworth, Gaz Williams and Jesse Payne-Wilkins. Line astern here. 3 different manufacturers in 3 different teams. You've got at the front of them Quatermass Motorsport Porsche driver Ben Bennyworth, who is a previous silver category champion. Gaz Williams in the next-gen Mustang there, and in the full tilt Lamborghini, Jesse Payne-Wilkins. This could be a good battle in the making with 3 very different cars. Porsche at the front, joyous car to drive, a very fun car to drive, and quite an all-rounder it's considered in this GT3 crop, whereas the Mustang's the long wheelbase, wide, powerful car. It's very, very stable, prone to understeer, but a very stable car. And the Lamborghini, which is the exact opposite of the Mustang, it's a very, very nimble car, but very, very erratic to drive, I would say. A lot of cloud cover just gone over the circuit. I swear it's not night time, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of cloud cover gone over us. Cool down the track a little bit. There's no impending threat of rain that I'm aware of. It's quite a good track temperature of 26 degrees. It's just a bit of cloud cover. As you see, we've come out from the cloud there. And iRacing being one of the more advanced simulations on the market for when it comes to weather simulation and time of day progression, weather progression and that sort of thing. And of course this is a series consisting of realistic weather, which means that anything can happen, and it's closely replicated to what's happening in the location in real life as well. That's how it works with APIs and that sort of thing. But very, very clever system we've now got on iRacing. We were begging for rain for so many years, whereas we are racing fans, and we finally got it. Okay, so let's just have a rundown of the order. We'll go through the top 10 of each category. So at the front of the gold category, as we're nearing the halfway point, Corey Price took the lead just a couple of laps ago from Jake Pitt, his teammate, in second position here, but the two are working very well together. 12 seconds clear at the front. Stephen Bird in third position, heading into the hairpin here. Stephen Bird was brilliant last season, but it's not been such a good start to the season so far, but tonight he's been very impressive in third place here in the Yorkshire Mafia Ferrari, of which he drove last season as well. Ben Bennyworth in the Porsche. He's usually driven the BMW in past seasons, but he's at the front of a potentially long trail battle here. But fourth place in the Porsche, driving for Quatermass. Ben Bennyworth there. Fifth position, Gaz Williams, one of the admins of this series. Fifth position for him. Good results. Last season, a little bit quiet from Gaz Williams, I'd say, but in Season 5, he was definitely at the forefront of the championship battle. Jesse Payne-Wilkins, third place in gold category in Season 5, 2 seasons ago. Right in the middle of this big battle here, potentially for fourth place. And just behind him, the man with the number 1 on his door is Ben McCluskey in the Ford Mustang, driving for NXTGEN Racing. Right behind Jesse Payne-Wilkins at the moment. He's just won 1 race this season, has Ben McCluskey, and that was the sprint race last time out at Watkins Glen. behind is Harry Langford, looking for a race win still this season. He won at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit last season, and I think he was pole position. He was holding pole position for quite a long time, actually, last time out at Watkins Glen. And McCluskey stole it from him. And Łukasz Sidor, championship leader, heading into tonight. Won the feature race last time out at Watkins Glen. He's one of the very few drivers in the field driving the Acura. There's only 4 drivers out there that started tonight driving the Acura, and he's the highest of them. Mike Barber closing in on this battle, actually. He might be able to latch on and get involved, but 10th place for the Quatermass driver. Meanwhile, in the silver category, Alan McCain still a strong lead in this silver category. 12 seconds. Near enough, 12 seconds. Driving for NXTGEN Racing in the Porsche. Jeffrey Kruger, 2nd place. CSA driver in the Porsche. There's quite a lot of them in this field, believe it or not. But the outgoing bronze champion from season 5 did very well last season in the silver category, picking up some wins actually. A little bit of bad luck here and there, put him out of contention for the championship win. But we'll see how he gets on this season. Matthew Cheverton has got himself ahead of Matthew Addy in recent laps. He's put himself into the top 3 here in this race, driving the Mustang this season like what he did last season. Down from gold category to silver category, but he's leading the championship heading into tonight. And a good result here might well keep his lead in the championship. In fact, it will, as it stands. Matthew Addy, he's been in the silver category for the last 2 seasons that I've been a part of this championship. And he's always been there or near the top 3 every single time. And 4th place for him in this race, right behind the championship leader, is a good position for him. George Stone, 5th place. Good strong performance tonight. Probably been one of his standout races tonight as George Stone. Top 5 for him at the moment. Not too far away from that battle for 2nd and 3rd. Nigel Stock, a slow start to the season for him. He was teetering on, battling for the championship last time out in the silver category, last season that is. But driving the Ferrari again this season, 6th place in tonight's race. Let's see how he gets on for the rest of the season. Oh, Matthew Addy slowing here, and he's had to let by Jamie Dory. We've also got Gaz Williams, who's gone a bit slow here, and he's let by a few drivers. That might have been a slowdown penalty for Gaz Williams. Led by Jesse Payne-Wilkins, Ben McCluskey and Harry Langford, all in the same space of time. I couldn't see if that was a slip. He might have just cut the corner a little bit too much, but that will be an instant slowdown penalty for Gaz Williams. He drops to 9th place now. Matthew Addy's lost out a little bit as well in the silver category. He's lost out to Cheverton, with Jamie Dory getting between him and Cheverton, and George Stone might be able to join in this battle for 4th place now. Let's continue with our rundown of the field. Lewis Mason in 7th position here. There's Mark Baker in 8th. Jason Raff was sniffing around the battle for the top 5, but he's now 9th at the moment, with Paul Williams in 10th. Adam Wilson-Weir leads the bronze category, near 12-second lead for him in that category. Just switch out here. Sidor is right behind Ben McCluskey. In fact, we'll get to the bronze category in just a moment. Sidor has just made a pass on Langford for that 7th place. And this is getting very close between all of these drivers in the gold category in this battle. That could stretch as far up as 4th, could stretch as far down as 10th. Oh, Sidor with a very diving move there to the inside, keeping his nose away from Ben McCluskey, but a good, clever move on Langford there to take 7th position. Oh, I think we've got an incident. Oh, no, we have got an incident. That's Mark Baker there and Stephen de Gravelia. Oh, they've got to be careful reversing back out on the tracks there. Oh, dear. That was the race leaders he nearly reversed into there. That was Corey Price, who was inches away. It was a very dangerous reverse back onto the track there for Mark Baker, but he's got away with it. Him and Stephen de Gravelia have come together by the looks of it. Now this is de Gravelia, and behind him is the livery-less car of Mark Baker. Now Gavelia loses the rear of it and just collects Mark Baker, actually. We'll get back to the live action. I'm just wondering if Corey Price did actually make contact. Now, let's just get a front end angle of that from Corey Price's view. This is what he, well, kind of would have seen. Heads into the chicane here, and there are two cars in the middle. One's reversing, and he just goes off the track. He definitely didn't make contact. That is a relief. But that's why you've got to be on high alert in these races, ladies and gentlemen, because anything can change at any moment. Now, the two Aztec drivers at the front here, 1 and 2, they are continuing to extend their lead. 15-second gap now to Stephen Bird, who in actual fact is being closed in by this big battle here. The battle for fourth here, led by Ben Bennyworth, is closing in on Stephen Bird and might be able to make this a battle for the top 3. Now, the thing is with Stephen Bird here in 3rd place, I'm told by a reliable source whose name might sound a little bit like Nigel Stock, who might be driving for my team, tells me that Ferrari is not quite as good as it used to be. I mean, iRacing changed the balance of performance, that is, of the cars. They change the physics of them all the time, and it changes which one is optimal over the others season in, season out, to be honest. It might be that Ferrari has been given the short straw in this season of iRacing at the moment. Maybe. That's what I'm told, anyway. It might be what Stephen Bird might be struggling with here. We know he's not short of any pace, given what last season brought him. Łukasz Sidor with a big lunge to the inside of Ben McCluskey there. He's really trying his luck in that hairpin tonight. But McCluskey will have a better exit from that corner. He's able to stay ahead. But that'll just upset McCluskey a little bit. It will put him offline. It will ruffle his feathers a little bit. It will put him off rhythm. And it means he loses pace to the drivers in front. That'll be what Sidor... Well, it might be what Sidor's playing. It'd be what I'd do if I was racing right now. And I had the capability of these drivers anyway. But Ben Bennyworth here may be able to work with Jesse Payne-Wilkins to close in on 3rd place. Because if these guys can get up to Stephen Bird, then it means all of them have potential of finishing 3rd in this race, which is 40 juicy points in the championship. Now, at this point in the season, with only 3 rounds in, it is really, really important to get those points in early on these endurance rounds. Particularly as these endurance rounds are the prime opportunity for drivers at the lower end of the championship to get their redemption in, to get their points scored in these endurance rounds, because they're put to the front of the grid at the start of the race, and it's the prime opportunity for them to do so in these rounds. Corey Price and Jake Pitt have split up a little bit here. There's 6 seconds between them. Pitt has dropped off a little bit. Has he had an incident? No, he hasn't. No. But, yeah, it's given Corey Price a little bit of freedom here. Now he's dealing with a little bit of traffic, is Jake Pitt. That's Mark Baker, we did see spun just a lap or 2 ago. Flash of lights there from Jake Pitt. And I think we are rolling around to the next set of pit stops. And all drivers have made it well and truly over the 1 hour mark. It's just whether they're going to need a 3rd stop in this race. This is all the learning we're having. Lewis Mason, George Stone, Alejandro Yolate are in the pits at the moment, so I think the pit stops are rolling around very shortly. Jake Pitt makes his way past the back marker. Relatively clear track around him at the moment. Right, let's get back to our rundown of the field. I'll keep an eye on the Gold Championship standings as much as I can while we're going through it. But Adam Wilson-Weir with a strong lead at the moment from Rob Savage, who's got his race back on track here in 2nd place there. But Adam Wilson-Weir 8.6 seconds clear of his teammates in 2nd place there, Rob Savage. This has been one of his better results in this series. Getting better and better each round is Rob Savage. Likewise is Simon Hunt in his 1st season at NXTGEN Racing. 3rd place for him at the moment. 6th place in the championship heading into tonight as well. So it's looking pretty good for Simon Hunt to mount a championship charge, or even a top 3 charge in the championship. Papa Constantino is 4th place in the Mustang there, and not too far behind, just a few corners. Back is Stein-Vatens. Mark Sykes in 6th position with Jonathan Berry, who won the sprint race last time out at Watkins Glen, 7th place. Elwyn Sykes did have an incident earlier on, but he has recovered fairly well to 8th place here, so still good points for him potentially. Andy Chell 9th with Stephen de Gravelia. A couple of dramas we've seen him involved in today is in 10th. Now we have got drivers in the pits. That's Matthew Addy, Nigel Stock, Mark Baker. Addy's back out, heading back out onto the track. And Nigel Stock is still in his box. I mean, he was a couple of seconds down from Addy before the pit stops initiated. George Stone will be one of the closest to Matthew Addy heading out of the pits, but I think Addy is fairly safe in the Sam Case's livery there. Back out on the track, and George Stone, his nearest rival, is here. So Matthew Addy will be keen to keep an eye on where Cheverton and Jeffrey Kruger end up. When they end up pitting, this will be an important lap for Addy. We've seen the undercut from the first round of pit stops was quite important anyway, so this might be a good opportunity for Addy to get the jump on Kruger. Kruger stays out for another lap. Cheverton's in the pits though, so this will be crunch time between himself and Matthew Addy. Quite a long time. And the first round of pit stops came at around about the 30-minute mark. We've done about 40 minutes on this tank, which means, realistically, it's going to be very tight to get it to the end of the race. And look at all them cars beyond. That's the majority of the gold category, not too far behind Matthew Addy. In fact, right behind him is Ben Bennyworth. Matthew Addy would be praying that he doesn't have to let these guys pass, because that will lose him touch. But Ben Bennyworth has gone. He's into the pits. And Cheverton is here, heading his way back out onto the track. He can now floor it. He's going to head straight into turn number 1. There's Matthew Addy, but I think Cheverton has got the better. He has. And he's rejoined right in front of Stephen Bird there. He might have to let Stephen Bird go. Flash of lights there from Stephen Bird, but Cheverton is not giving way. He's staying in front. I'll upset Stephen Bird a little bit. But Cheverton is thinking about his own race here. And he knows he's up against Kruger, who's still out on the track. He's still awaiting to go into the box. He has saved quite a bit of fuel. He's staying out for an extra lap. Likewise is McCain. Right, we've got Ben Bennyworth in the pits. Now, I think that these drivers who are pitting right now are going to need another stop. Around about 40 to 45 minutes between this stop and the last one. That means they're going to need another one. I've been wrong about these things in the past, though. We'll see how they get on. Let's see how many of these gold drivers head into the pits very shortly. Matthew Addy will be praying that they go into the pits very, very soon. As we're seeing a bronze driver get out, well, nearly get out of the way here. Matthew Addy's not getting out of the way of these gold drivers, and it's going to make them very, very nervous. Now, this is the point in the race where all the categories and lapped cars are interlocking with one another. And it bunches up as Stephen de Gravelia is much slower through the chicane than these gold drivers. Matthew Addy's breaking through. Oh, and McCluskey trying to get his way past as well. Right on the rear of Jesse Payne-Wilkins. It's very nervous times as all the categories, as I mentioned, are interlocking now. Jake Pitt and Corey Price, by the way, there they are, they're in the pits. Stephen Bird resumes the lead of the race. And the thing on this pit stop is going longer is going to be better, and there'll be drivers out there who have saved fuel. Now, has Corey Price saved enough fuel? Big, big question. Find out as the laps tick by. 80% of the tank is similar to IMSA, and the IMSA races are 45 minutes. And you need a pit stop in those IMSA races. I think it's the 80% anyway for IMSA. But Yeah. Very, very edgy stuff in this race. Alan McCain's in the pits. And is Jeffrey Kruger. Now, Alan McCain's heading back out onto the track. He's got a very clear track in terms of positions around him. He just needs to save the fuel, clock in the laps, and maintain his position. It'll be a very, very historic day for Alan McCain if he can sew this one up tonight. McCluskey and Sidor stay out, and they did go longer than everyone else last time. And you can just see Addy and Cheverton. Addy's really closed in on Cheverton here, but them two are just praying that they don't have to obey the blue flags here. They might get a warning from the race control stewards, who knows. Oh, Addy's a little bit slow out of the chicane there. He drops off from Cheverton. He's got McCluskey right behind him, who's not going to be happy that he's been held up by a silver driver here. Addy moves out of the way. He's going to lose time to Cheverton, but I think Addy has thought big picture. He doesn't want to concede the penalty or anything like that, but he's trying not to lose as much time as possible. He probably could have done with slowing down on the straights even more, because he's lost a lot of momentum through that chicane. McCluskey and Sidor, this might be their last flying lap here on this tank of fuel. 44 minutes to go in this race. Can a full tank get there? Potentially. Maybe. Matthew Cheverton right in front of him is going to be braking for the chicane here, and they'll have to ease off to get it into the pits. Oh no, they don't. They're going to stay out for an extra lap. Oh, a nice exit there from McCluskey. He's going to get it alongside Cheverton. So is Sidor with a brilliant, brilliant press coming out of the chicane there, and they go through. And I imagine Cheverton might have eased off the throttle a little bit. He did that probably in a way that lost him less time than Matthew Addy had just half a lap ago. Addy's dropped off a little bit, but the pace of Addy tonight has been good. Might be able to catch back up to Cheverton. The pit stops have been and gone for the bronze category. Wilson-Weir still leads, but he's not too far ahead of Stein Vaten, so something's happened to Adam Wilson-Weir along the line here. Stein Vaten now joins the club, fighting for race victory potentially, if he can maintain the lap times of that of his rival ahead of him, who was a tenth quicker on the last lap. Carlos Jason's still out on track as well. I think he had to pit earlier on, but McCluskey and Sidor have managed to save fuel very, very well in this race. That might have been why they've been taking their time getting through the field, as they were happily sitting behind and saving fuel. That might be the strategy for a lot of drivers in this final stint. It might be saving fuel at this part. Now into the pits goes Ben McCluskey. Sidor stays out. He's saved another lap of fuel. And of course,
penalty car 014 track limits.
014 track limits. That's our first drive-through penalty of the night, and it's come at the 60% mark of the race. That's Matt Gatter in the bronze category, drive-through penalty. Now Ben McCluskey into the pits. Now, of course, the beauty of pitting later at this point in the race, it means that you put in less fuel for your final stop. It means a shorter pit stop. Back out on track goes McCluskey. No, he's not back out yet. Still other drivers passing by. Corey Price and Jake Pitt have passed by. Bird may as well. Although there is Stephen Bird right now, and McCluskey's heading towards pit exit. Here comes Stephen Bird. He's out in front of Ben McCluskey. McCluskey has got past all the other drivers around. There's Jesse Payne-Wilkins. That's a big jump for McCluskey. Right on the rear of third place driver Stephen Bird. Third place not at this point, but it will be once the pit stops have ended. But that's a brilliant, brilliant a couple of in-laps there for McCluskey and Sidor, who is still going. We've had an incident for John Berry. And I'll keep an eye on Łukasz Sidor. I think he is into the pits. Stephen de Gravelia in front of John Berry. Into the hairpin. Nope, just overshoots it. Very easily done in that hairpin. It is. You have to get your braking point exactly right for that corner. Now, Sidor and Ustason are in the pits. It's going to be interesting to see where they come out relative to Ben McCluskey, who's got the entire jump on Langford, Payne Wilkins and Bennyworth, and by plenty of seconds as well. Look at this gap, and it's still a big line of cars here. Bennyworth, Payne Wilkins, Langford, Dory, Pittas, Gaz Williams, and not too far behind there is Mike Barber as well. Nothing going on between Payne Wilkins and Langford here. Sidor's heading back out on the track. We've got to go back to the live pictures. There we go, heading out of the pits. Łukasz Sidor has rejoined the track right in front of Stephen Bird, and he's taken third place. Those in-laps there from McCluskey and Sidor, where they had pretty much an open track around them, albeit Addy and Cheverton were close to them. They've really nailed this right now.
Drive-through penalty, car 10, speeding in pit lane.
10 drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane. Maybe they prompted for the penalty for that as well. So Łukasz Sidor, that's Łukasz Sidor who's had a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's race over. That's race win, or even top 3 over for Łukasz Sidor. Oh man. That's going to be music to the ears of McCluskey, whose chance at big points in this race has just been given to him there. And his motives for this race might change. He might just well relax a little bit. But what the important thing is now, when Sidor going to serve that penalty, he's been retaken by Stephen Bird trying to warm up those tyres. Does Sidor pit now? Yes, he does. He's going to serve that penalty now. It's a drive-through penalty. But it's going to lose him a lot of time. Let's just see how many places he ends up tumbling. He's still going to be in point scoring position, I believe, but it might be that he drops down to about 14th position. Oh, it is a stop-and-go penalty by the looks of it. And he might just say, you know what, I'm going to load on a bit of more fuel as well. This might be a very lonely rest of race for Łukasz Sidor. And that really gives the opportunity to Ben McCluskey now. He's got third place right in front of him. Gavin Gardner's still out there, might be on an alternate strategy. But McCluskey here has a shot at third, battling with the driver that he battled with for the majority of last season, Stephen Bird. Of course, the question mark, for me anyway, still lingers about whether the drivers will have enough fuel to get to the end. Sidor's now heading out of the pits. He lost a lot of time. He's lost nearly a lap there, because Corey Price is heading into turn number 1 as Sidor's back out on the track. So it's going to be a very lonely rest of race. Down to 15th place for Łukasz Sidor. Gavin Gardner's now into the pits. He's going to lose quite a lot of positions here on the alternate strategy. That might be his last stop in the race. In fact, he will get enough fuel in the tank there to see him out for the rest of the race. That might play in his favour. We'll have to find out. McCluskey is definitely in the better position of the gold category drivers here, having pitted later on. And like I mentioned with Gavin Gardner, we take a look to the silver category, and Phil McDougall, I kind of written him off early. He might actually be on a fairly decent strategy. He might be on a better one to the other drivers. might be on an opportunity to finish third in this category. Maybe. The gap between the top two in the bronze category remains fairly similar to when we last checked in. Adam Wilson-Weir's not out of the woods yet. He's got quite a lot of cars ahead of him. It's Jason Raff, Lewis Mason, Ian Manners I think is right in front of him there. Quite a bit of traffic to negotiate here. Steinvaten's had an incident at Watkins Glen, I think, in the sprint race last time out. So definitely looking for some points. Steinvaten's very late on last season joined the battle for the championship in the final round, which was between 6 different drivers heading into Daytona round 10 last season. Of course, the winner of them ended up being Elwyn Sykes, who started off this race not so well. Had to pit really early, and we're seeing a change. Third place here, taken by Ben McCluskey. We'll get another shot of that, but that looked like easy pickings for Ben McCluskey. Heading out of the chicane there, bad exit from Stephen Bird. Real close to the wall there. McCluskey with a good exit. He's going to go to the right, which gives him the inside for turn number 2. The longer turn is turn number 2. Holds it around the outside, and through he goes. That's the top 3. Held now for McCluskey, and Stephen Bird getting very out of shape there, pushing very hard out of the chicane, and just couldn't keep it in a straight line, and had to concede a bit of time there to McCluskey and lose his touch with that battle now. Carlos Stayson, with the drama that happened last time out of the feature race, sits 5th at the moment on an alternate strategy. We'll see if that ends up favouring him as the race reaches its climax period. So heading into the final quarter of the race very, very shortly. Carlos Stayson is taken to this gold category very, very well, it's got to be said. He was battling for the top spots in the feature race last time out, and he won the feature race at Misano. This battle that hasn't really been for any one position, it's been for a lot of positions in this race. But Payne Wilkins now battling with Pittas. It's kind of spread out across all these battles here. But I'd say Ben Bennyworth has really risen to the challenge this week as well. He's broken through and had some real tough battles with the top hitters in the gold category tonight. It's been great to see from Bennyworth. Promoted to the gold category for last season because of his win in silver category in season 5. Just referring to a comment on YouTube, Stefan Wessel's watching the race now. Yes, and he also thinks Pitt and Price are going to struggle for fuel. That's what I've been telling myself and you guys. And yeah, we'll have to see. We will have to see. Oh, Bennyworth, something's happened to Bennyworth. There's debris in the middle of the track. And he's dropped down the order, and he's going very slowly. So something's happened to Ben Bennyworth, who we were just complimenting. Please don't be a commentator curse, although it probably is. Oh, and there's a car in the middle of the track. And Bennyworth collects it, so does, I think that's Mark Baker. I'm not sure which car that was. I think that was Matt Gatter. And that has pretty much ended.
Caution, 15 seconds.
We've got a full course caution coming up, the first of the season, because there's too much debris on the track and too many cars going slow. 9, 8, 7, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course caution. There we go, drivers have to go slow now. They've got a full course caution. The pace car is going to be out on the track. And this is going to bunch up the field. But it's something I'm aware of. Let me have a quick read of the rules. Can the drivers pit during this caution? However long it's going to be as well. It's the first time we're doing it in this championship. So let's just go back to that instant while we're waiting for things to clear up a little bit here. This is Matt Gatter. This is the driver who was in the middle of the road as a result of an incident. This is this corner here. Loses the rear end. Ends up in the middle of the track, and I think he's trying to rejoin. I think he's trying to spin it round very shortly. But into the back goes Baker, and then Bennyworth into Baker. And it blocks the track, and there's debris everywhere, and that's why we've got the caution out now, ladies and gentlemen. There's Corey Price running very, very slowly. Now, I think... yeah, they do have to run at a very, very slow speed. They must stay single file, be aware of potential incidents ahead. And they've all got to be on the pit limiter around this track now. So our first of the season. These full course cautions.
Full course caution ending. Wait for countdown.
Here we go. It's a bit like the virtual safety car. They're going to get a countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag.
There we go. And it doesn't compromise too many of the drivers too much. It's a bit like the virtual safety car in Formula 1. So drivers can get going again. Everything's clear out on the track. Bennyworth, Gatta and Baker cleared out of the way, and they can go racing again. So that pretty much saves Corey Price a little bit there. So that went very well for a first time for full course caution in this series. Absolutely brilliant. But they would have saved a little bit of fuel there, would they, ladies and gentlemen? They would have whacked it into 6th gear and just kept it on the limiter, which would have saved them a little bit of fuel, but they weren't under caution for very long either. So we'll have to see what happens as the race goes by, with less than half an hour to go now, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take your eyes off, because anything can change at any point. If drivers feel like they can't get to the end on the current tank of fuel, will they stop earlier? It's the kind of tactics I used to think about when driving in the IndyCar series that I hosted once upon a time. You're thinking about when to come into the pits and get the upper hand on drivers around you. Some drivers will just prefer to go as far as they can go on the tank they've got. But I do certainly think that McCluskey's in the best position right now. Out on the track for the longest. So was Carl Ustason as well. So I've got a feeling McCluskey might be on the best strategy out on the track right now. He stayed out for an extra 5 laps. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. Leaving the silver still, Alan McCain, 10-second lead. It has come down recently. It might have been the full course caution that scuppered that a little bit. And of course, it's something they can protest or report after the race, is if they feel like a driver hasn't obeyed the full caution rules. It's not something that the race director can track live with 60 drivers on the track. Or 50 drivers, shall I say. Yeah, 50 drivers out on the track. It might be something that if they feel they've been disadvantaged with other drivers going faster before, well, at the very start of the full course caution, they might be able to report that if they feel a driver has gone and been a bit cheeky, maybe. We'll have to see that after the race with the stewards' results. But our top 3 of each category at the moment: Corey Price, Jake Pitt, Ben McCluskey. Silver category: Alan McCain, Jeffrey Kruger, Phil McDougall, who's in the pits. This will be his final pit stop. So this is a big, big moment for Phil McDougall. You'll hope that other drivers will need another stop. So Cheverton's up into 3rd place in silver category. Adam Wilson-Weir first in bronze category, with Rob Savage in 2nd place. Steinvatens has dropped back quite a bit. He's now in 3rd place, a long way back from the leader. There's a nice comfy lead yet again for Adam Wilson-Weir. But Corey Price, new driver to this season, new driver for Aztec Racing this season. leading the majority of the race here. Good start to his next-gen career, I would say, so far. I'm still anticipating a big shuffle of the standings here before the end of the race. Let's see. This will be the part of the race where drivers are going to be keeping an eye on the fuel tank. They are going to be keeping an eye on their tyres as well. It'll be very aged tyres, depending on when they switched in this race. It used to be a time in endurance racing where you could do 2 or 3 hours on a set of tyres, but times have changed on iRacing. The tyre model is much more aggressive, I'd say. You can't quite do that anymore. Right, we've got Matthew Addy is back up near Matthew Cheverton, but between him and Cheverton is someone who was leading the championship heading into tonight, but got given a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's Łukasz Sidor here. He's trying to get his race back on track, trying to make up as many places he can to therefore make up as many points as he can for his championship. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, there is a drop round in this championship, so 1 of the 10 rounds, if you take part in all of them, will be reverted to 0, and that is your lowest scoring round. Effectively, 9 of your 10 rounds will count towards the championship. The reason I say that is because Sidor might look at tonight and say this will end up being his drop round. 36 points from Misano for Łukasz Sidor and 42 from Watkins Glen tonight as it stands, walking away from this race with 2. Outbreaks Cheverton going into the hairpin and makes his way up an overall position to 16th, but still in 14th place in class. Cheverton and Addy, there's been nothing separating these two in terms of pace throughout this entire race. And whoever wins out of the 2 of them will be interesting to see. Kruger has broken away quite considerably here in 2nd place and is closing in on Alan McCain actually. Matthew Addy's in the pits. Now he's decided, there we go, this is where it's starting to happen. He's decided, I cannot get to the end on this tank of fuel. I'm coming in now and I'm filling up. And we saw with McCluskey and with Łukasz Sidor for a lap anyway, that pitting late was very effective. That won't be the case here for Addy. But if he can get himself back out onto the track in a nice clear track and with no worry about saving fuel, he'll be able to floor it here. There we go, he rejoins. I think that's Jake Pitt right behind him, it is. Jake Pitt has got Ben McCluskey breathing down on him. McCluskey might feel at this point he really can push because he might have enough fuel to get to the end, whereas Jake Pitt might be feeling like he can't. Could be a move coming up very, very shortly from McCluskey on Jake Pitt. We'll see if other drivers heading to the pits soon now. We saw Matthew Addy pull the trigger. He went into the pits on the last lap. He's just ahead of these 2. And McCluskey's had a great race here. 14 places gained from the start. Could be right, Steph, you could be right. It could be the Price and Pitt saved enough fuel, but there really wasn't that much time under the safety car. Did it save enough? Time will tell. Comparing last time to best times. And that is... best times on the right, and they're a little bit slower than their best times, and that's because the tyres would be a little bit old at this point. Not quite an optimal pace. But there's certainly no indication that drivers are letting up. It's a fairly healthy 10-second lead for Corey Price from McCluskey anyway. But Jake Pitt has just steadily dropped off from Corey Price as time's gone by, and Matthew Addy now has to let by these back markers. Blue flag's waiting for him, he has to let him go, and that'll lose him a little bit of time in that silver race. Potentially a top 3. Nearing 10 seconds gap between Corey Price and Ben McCluskey. I've also got to keep an eye on other categories as well. The gap between Alan McCain and Jeffrey Kruger is going down rapidly. It's down to just over 5 seconds, and the gap was 12 seconds. So many laps to go. 20 minutes to go in this race. It's now below 5 seconds between McCain and Kruger. McCain has pretty much led this race from the early laps. And the time's just crumbling between him and Jeffrey Kruger, who's only back here. He doesn't seem to be letting off. He's not easing off the pace at all, whereas McCain just doesn't seem the same pace as what he was earlier on in the race. He's driven a great race as well. But Kruger is going to see the opportunity to take big points out of Matthew Cheverton. Of course, Cheverton didn't have a good feature race last time out at Watkins Glen. He's 20 points a trail in the championship from Cheverton. He needs the extra points. If he can get himself into first place and Cheverton stays in third, that's 10 out of the lead of the championship. Back to McCluskey at the front. Just going to keep an eye on the bronze category as well. It looks fairly split up in the bronze category. Wilson-Weir, Rob Savage, Stein Vatens are the top 3, more than 10 seconds apart from one another. But Mission are having a good race in the bronze category yet again tonight. Oh, and there's contact here heading into the chicane. That was Jason Raff, and I think that was Jesse Payne Wilkins just ahead. He's lapping the CSA driver. They both got away with it. No move yet from McCluskey. Jake Pitt getting a little bit out of shape heading out of the chicane there. He was a little bit of a shallow line heading into the first part of that chicane, and the exit was compromised. McCluskey has a good run out of the chicane there. Will he be able to make a move going into the hairpin? He's fairly close. No move yet. Oh, he was having a look just to see if Jake Pitt would outbrake himself. It's now over 10 seconds between Price and Pitt, and therefore Price and McCluskey. Jake Pitt flashing his lights there at the drivers up ahead.
Full course caution, 15 seconds.
Full course caution coming up, so there's been an incident.
10,
Yeah, it's Andy
9,
Chal who can't move.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full course caution.
So the drivers come to a halt in terms of their racing speed. They'll save a little bit
Caution's
more
been
fuel.
caused for the car at turn 4 facing the wrong direction.
This is what happened. This is Andy Chal's incident that's caused the incident.
Full course caution ending. Wait for countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Green flag.
We are away. That'll be more fuel saved. And the gap has grown a little bit between Pitt and McCluskey. That just puts things more and more out of favour for McCluskey to try and take second or first place here. Definitely first place. Corey Price might have had enough time to save some fuel here. That might be applicable to a lot of the drivers here. It's going to be worth keeping an eye on Alan McCain here, but actually he has been really caught by Jeffrey Kruger now. It's less than a second between them. So Kruger is in a prime opportunity here to win this race against all odds. And there's Jamie Dury as well in the gold category right behind Alan McCain. And back there is Jeffrey Kruger just watching and waiting. And the thing is, if Alan McCain has saved enough fuel, he can put his foot down, he can put a defence on for this win. It's 30 seconds between these two in first and second in the silver category and Matthew Cheverton. It's close between Savage and Vatons as well, side by side, going up the Casino Straight. On the inside is Savage, who's able to retake the second place from Stein Vatons. Back into second he goes. It's really hottening up now on this track. There's plenty of battles going on around. Alan McCain has to challenge back at Jeffrey Kruger. We've also got Ben McCluskey within a second again of Jake Pitts. There's a battle for second in gold and bronze category, and there's a battle for the win in the silver category in the final 13 minutes of this race. Very exciting stuff indeed. The Stein Vatons will have to try again. Oh, a bit of understeer there from Rob Savage. He's going to have not such a good exit from the chicane, but Stein Vatons had a much better exit. McCain has stretched the gap in the silver category lead to over a second. But we've also got George Stone is real close to the back of Matthew Cheverton and might be able to put a challenge in on third place. More points for Mission R if so. Oh, here we go. Wide there went Rob Savage and through goes Stein Vatons. But Rob Savage might be able to challenge back at the end of this straight. Oh, he goes to the inside. He couldn't quite squeeze through the gap there. But will he be later on the brakes? He's still side by side with Stein Vatons as we head into the chicane. Who's going to be later and who's going to be braver? You know what? It's going to be Savage as Stein Vatons. I think he was trying to see the bigger picture there and decides to back out and try again at the next lap. But close between these two and close between these two. Second place in gold category. I think first might well be a lost cause for McCluskey. Price might well have it sewn up. But second place. Can Jake Pitt hang on to it? He's doing very well so far. Good couple of laps keeping McCluskey at bay. Kruger's dropping back from McCain. It's dropping back to near 2 second gap. McCain is really doing well to hang on to this. I think those cautions have really helped Alan McCain, and he's been able to save quite a bit of fuel. He might be able to stretch it to the end of the race now. This is close. McCluskey had a really good exit from the final chicane. Is right on the rear of Jake Pitt. That's the back marker who pulls out of the way. moves yet from McCluskey. He's going to be sussing out Webb, and it's going to be here, I think. It's a bad exit from Jake Pitt, and McCluskey's able to keep it nice and tight to the apex. Has the inside for the next chicane, and he is through. Back onto the braking markers, and into second place goes Ben McCluskey, and you've got to say at this point he's definitely in a better position to keep it, because I think Jake Pitt might still be saving fuel here. But McCluskey will have a big advantage over his rivals, particularly Sidor, who will be coming out of tonight with very few points. Just 4 points to McCluskey's, at the moment, 45. Back to Kruger versus McCain, and the victory in silver category tonight. McCain has a bit of help here. He's got Jamie Dory between him and Jeffrey Kruger. And of course, McCain and Jamie Dory are next-gen drivers, so I just wonder if Jamie Dory's going to be helping out McCain here. Bit of team-to-team rivalry going on. We've also got Stein-Vatens. This is a battle just up ahead as well. This is the battle for second place in bronze category. Stein-Vatens challenging Savage, and they'll not want to get out of the way of these drivers. They don't want to compromise each other, their pace, and potentially lose place to one another. But these silver drivers are closing in. Eight and a half minutes to go in this race. Oh, and a spin there from Jamie Dory. Oh, and he's just about got it out the way. He's able to spin it back round. But that will enable Kruger to get on the attack. Stein-Vatens has dropped behind these, and Rob Savage has stayed ahead, so that's a big time gap between Savage and Vatens has opened up there. I can just sense there's tyres out there and potentially drivers that are just feeling tired right now, and McCain put a little bit of a lunge in on Rob Savage there, but right on the rear is Kruger and nearly taking out Alan McCain. McCain was all sideways there with a little bit of rear wave contact. Side by side, so we head into the hairpin. They're trying to lap traffic, but also trying to overtake one another. Holding it still is McCain. Heading down into the hairpin. I sense Kruger is going to try a move going into the hairpin, but guarding the inside is Alan McCain. Oh, and he's overshot it, and he's made contact with second place, Rob Savage. Savage spins round, and he drops to third place. This is what happened. Alan McCain was guarding the inside from Jeffrey Kruger, and I imagine he was trying to brake later than Kruger, but he's a long way back, and he's just not able to get it slowed down, and makes heavy contact with Savage, who's going to have heavy, well, potentially a meatball flag for damage on his car, and that might well be, if it isn't the rest of the race, it might well be a penalty that causes McCain to lose this race. He's missing a front bumper as well, a front splitter, which isn't going to help. Now Kruger will be rubbing his hands here, well, in his head, definitely not in real life, wouldn't recommend that. Oh, and I think actually struggling for the front end grip now is Alan McCain because of the front splitter being missing. This is there for the taking now for Jeffrey Kruger. He just needs to time it well. Big incident there across different categories. Rob Savage loses contention potentially for second place in category now as a result. No move yet from Kruger. Now compare that to a lap ago where he was all over the rear and he was really trying to intimidate Alan McCain. As we look to the gold category here, Stephen Bird has moved back into third place. And he's moved ahead of Jake Pitt, who's now trying to hang on from other drivers in gold category like Langford and Oosthuizen. But we've got just over 5 minutes to go. And the victory in silver category is up in the air. It's pretty much sewn up in the bronze category, and I think it's pretty much sewn up in the gold category, barring any late drama in the form of pit stops or anything like that. Good exit from the corner there from Kruger. He had a much tighter exit, but I don't think this is the prime overtaking opportunity. But you can see McCain is struggling for grip. Kruger's alongside to the inside. Now for the next chicane. He's through. Into the lead of silver goes Jeffrey Kruger with a little mistake from Alan McCain there. This is on board with Alan McCain. Just see it understeers into this right-hander. It's just not turning. And he has to have a slow exit here to avoid the wall. Tries to guard the inside, but Kruger's already alongside and he's passed. And that is down to the lack of grip that Alan McCain now has on the front of that car. And it came down to the final 10 minutes of this race, where a potential first win in silver category has come undone for Alan McCain. But Kruger, you got to take your hats off to him. 21 places gained in the overall standings tonight, 10 in category. And he'll get 10 points back as it stands on his championship rival, Matthew Cheverton. Now the gap between Corey Price and Ben McCluskey has come down by 2 seconds in the last lap from what I've seen. Yes, a 2-second gap on the last lap they completed between Corey Price and Ben McCluskey. Does that suggest that Corey Price is fuel saving? Let's compare the next lap. Price across the line. That lap was faster at 36.5 and a 35.4. A second quicker is McCluskey. Now 3 minutes to go, which would be 2 laps. I personally can't see McCluskey doing it, but it's getting very, very tight at this point in the race. There are very few battles for position still out on track. The closest would be Mike Barber and Kaz Williams, which is just under a second between them. This is the game of chess we were playing, those drivers, just looking out for other drivers now who might well be low on fuel. We will hopefully get interviews after the race, ladies and gentlemen. That's McCluskey making his way past Cheverton to lap him. What a race we've witnessed tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Drama in the form of 2 full course cautions. Just going to check here. Let's see if Corey Price is actually lifting off the throttle. Not quite, but he really understeered going into turn from turn 1 to turn number 2 there. Let's see the next corner. Doesn't seem to be lifting. I just wonder if it's tyre wear that's might be getting to some of these drivers. We do have a swap of it. Oh, hang on a minute. Look at that. That's Stephen Bird who's hit the wall. And he was in 3rd place. So this is heading into turns number 1 and 2. So what happens to Stephen Bird? 3rd place in this race. Oh, this car's in the middle of the track. Oh my word. And that completely ruined Stephen Bird's race there. I'm not sure who they were. But more drama. That puts Jake Pitt back into the top 3. And Stephen Bird's out of this race. He's in the pits. He's towed back to the pits. He can't take the car on anymore. And we'll have to see what happens up ahead. I think it might have been Alejandro Ulate and Sammy Ariba who came together. And here we go. The winner of the race. Gold category, a first win for Corey Price in the gold category. He hangs on to the end and he wins our first 2-hour endurance of the season. Brilliant performance from the Aztec Racing driver. Second place, a brilliant race from McCluskey, charging through the field as he normally does. And Jake Pitt takes third place on the final lap there for gold category. Now we've got to the silver category and it's not over yet. McCain is still challenging Jeffrey Kruger, but there's a car between him and Kruger and he's frantically flashing his lights at Stephen de Gravelli to get out of the way, but I think it might be a lost cause now for McCain. There's only 2 corners to go and there's quite a gap between the 2 drivers. Jeffrey Kruger is going to win a 3rd race of the season here. And if it wasn't for his feature race issues last time out at Watkins Glen, he could well have been leading the championship after tonight. Adam Wilson-Weir, by the way, winner in the bronze category. And that's a 3rd win of the season for Adam. Kruger crosses the line, close between him and McCain in the end, but McCain couldn't quite get that win he so looked like he was going to have. But Kruger takes the win in that silver category, and Matthew Cheverton 3rd place in silvers. In the bronze category, Stein Vatens comes through to finish 2nd place, and Rob Savage, despite the drama in the last few laps between him and Alan McCain, finishes 3rd place in the end. And the Aztec drivers assemble together for formation end to the race. Celebrating their driver, taking a victory tonight. When is the last time an Aztec driver won outright? I can't remember the last time that happened. What a race we saw. This track is awesome for endurance racing. I imagine it's a nightmare in the cars because I think drivers were genuinely struggling at the end there for tyre grip. Maybe it was drivers stretching the tyres further than they probably could go. We thought it was going to be fuel, and where they might have been saved somewhat by the 2 full course cautions we had. And there we go, as we see Corey Price celebrate on the start finish line. Trying to do donuts, but unfortunately you've got a lot of traction control on that car, Corey. Whack it in reverse. That might be the best thing to do. Yeah, that'll do. Right, let's go to the results of our race here tonight. Gold category, Corey Price takes the win just from Ben McCluskey on a hard charge at the end there. And it's an Aztec Racing double podium as Jake Pitt comes through as 3rd place, with Stephen Bird retiring on the final lap of the race due to an incident. Harry Langford, another strong performance for him tonight. 4th place for him from Jesse Payne-Wilkins in 5th position. Gaz Williams 6th from Mike Barber in 7th. And Jack Pittas in 8th position. Gavin Gardner 9th, followed by Carl Ustason in 10th position. Jamie Dory in 11th. Łukasz Sidor had a drive-through stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Drops him to 12th place, and he was definitely a contender for podium, if not victory, tonight. Ben Bennyworth in 13th position, followed by Stephen Bird in 14th, who did retire in the end, and Martin Hobson in 15th. Ben Altria retired 16th, likewise with Stefan Wessels and Sean Schutz. Silver category, Jeffrey Kruger takes the win with an overtake on Alan McCain in the final 5 minutes of the race, but good battling between them two. Alan McCain loses out on the win, but still a strong performance, strong pace from him tonight in 2nd place. Matthew Cheverton takes 3rd place. It does say he's a lap down, but he isn't in this category. but third place for him, followed by Matthew Addy in fourth place, Phil McDougall in fifth place, a good recovery considering his early pit stop early in the race, and George Stone in sixth position, followed by Jason Raff, Nigel Stock, Lewis Mason and Paul Williams rounding off the top 10. Jochen Seeger in 11th with Alejandro Ulate in 12th, Ian Manners in 13th, Mark Baker in 14th, and non-finishers were Aaron Hobson and Wesley Peels. Bronze category now, and it's another win for Adam Wilson-Weir, his third of the season, and he had a near half a minute gap to Stein Vatens in second position with Robert Savage in third position and Simon Hunt in fourth. Gabriel Papaconstantino rounds off the top 5 with Elwyn Sykes, last season's bronze champion, in 6th position. John Berry, last week's sprint race winner, is 7th tonight in the endurance race. Stephen de Gravelia, some drama for him tonight, but finishes in 8th in the end from Michael Evangeli. Mark Sykes rounding off the top 10. Andy Rooney in 11th with Andy Chell in 12th. 13th is Sammy Ariba. 14th, Davide Favo, and Matt Gatter rounding off 15th with Wesley Lewin not finishing the race. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's been tonight's endurance race, and the first endurance race of the season. Of course, before we head off to the interviews very, very shortly, this is round 3 of the championship tonight. Next week, we're back to the sprint race and feature race format. So we'll be back to the qualifying sprint race and feature race format. So that's 20 minutes qualifying, 20 minutes sprint race, and 60 minutes feature race. That's at Donington Park in Leicestershire next week. Whew, I think we all need to cool down after that. These 2 hour endurances are always awesome. They have a little bit of a period where things get a little bit stale and a little bit boring, but they do light up when it gets crunch time in these endurance races. But we have got some interviews lined up for us tonight. Now I'm just bear with me. We'll go back to the start of the race. Actually, what we'll do before the interviews, we're going to have a look at that incident that happened on the final lap that caused Stephen Bird to drop down a lot of places. Now I've got to go and find it in this crop of incidents here. Proving tricky to find, actually, but I think I found it, actually. Yeah, there we go. Right, so this will be the incident that led to it. It's Sammy Ariba here. Coming out of the pits there is Alejandro Ulate. Oh, driving into the side there. You've got to say, Sammy Ariba did not just anticipate Ulate being there, and Ulate pulls out into the middle of the track, and Stephen Bird had absolutely nowhere to go. That's going to be one the stewards definitely look at and probably take action on. Not to say what happened, who did what, and that sort of thing. Oh no, and there's another crash there as well. Carl Oosthuizen, that is. And this is on the final lap of the race. Okay. Right, we'll actually go back to the start of the race. Where's our green flag moment on here? Alright, we'll go back to here. But yeah, we got some interviews. Right, we're going to first of all, once we get to... There we go, we get to the action. Right, we are going to talk to one of the Mission R drivers first of all. And first of all, we will talk to John Berry of the Mission R team. So first of all, John, welcome to the comms booth. Can you hear us?
Yes, all good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us yet again. So Mission R tonight, we'll start with the team as a whole. Adam gets himself a nice win in the bronze category tonight. So would you say a fairly decent result for Missionar, or what's the feeling back in the camp at the moment?
Overall, I think it was a mixed bag. I think we had some night of frustrations, some silly mistakes, but tonight we were really hoping to go in with a sort of it's a marathon, not a sprint, and we couldn't really get past that, and a lot of us were concerned about the time scale and the difficulty of the track, and a street circuit almost for 2 hours is it's sweaty. Yeah, it's very sweaty. But overall, I think Adam, absolutely fantastic result. Super proud of you, mate. Well done. And then the rest of us is pretty much a mixed bag.
So talk us through your race. We're catching you on the replay here, but this is the very start of the race. But talk us through your race, the main events that took place for you.
Yeah, so I believe this is lap 1 that we're seeing at the moment. As I come round the corner, obviously there's a car in the middle of the track and I hit the wall. So that knocks my steering out, as you can see from the sparks flying off the replay. So I have damage at this point. So I'm contemplating, do I carry on? Do I go and pit? I tried to carry on for as long as I could. I got to about 5 laps left of fuel, or 8 laps, something like that. And then I ended up trying to pit early and go for that strategy and, try and long it out. And then later down the line, I think it was lap 18, coming into Champions Wall, I got taken out, and it wasn't a very nice one. But I managed to roll it into the pit lane backwards, which was impressive.
Parkour. There we go.
Yeah. So it wasn't a fantastic, but head down. I tried to recover as many places as I could, but I couldn't find my pace from my practice sessions and anything like that. So I didn't feel overly confident. I just made it to the end.
What's the key difference for you when it comes to Watkins Glen and a track like today? Watkins Glen just seems to be so smooth for yourself. Is that the kind of track you're preferring?
Yeah, just something that carries a bit more speed. I seem to be better on the higher speed tracks than these sort of shorter, narrower ones. I don't know whether it's the fact that I have a bit more space. Maybe it's the unnerving factor of if someone's going to dive bomb you on this one and there'd be very little room either side. I don't know, again, this track is incredibly difficult for overtaking, so it really brings up the nerves when going into a corner. But yeah, I think for me, the untechnical stuff is more technical because I can be faster there and I can read the track a little bit better and a bit quicker.
So we're just taking a look at your lap 1 here, and we're watching you head through the corners right now. Where was it on the track you said your incident happened? Or you we just found it.
Coming through.
There you go.
Oh, okay, fine.
So a car in the middle of the track, and then literally, the car's rejoining, and you're not sure what to do in those moments, are you?
No, and this right-hander coming up now is blind. So all of a sudden, car, don't know what he's doing, put it in the wall. And that's a right-hand turn, load the brakes up because you're trying to stop because you don't know where the car's going. Car locks up, puts it in the wall. There's literally nothing else more I could do apart from try and avoid.
Yeah.
I knew someone was there, but because it's a blind corner, I was slowing, but you still can't see what the person around the blind corner is doing. So it makes it incredibly difficult to make that judgment.
Yeah, and that kind of set the precedent for your race, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then to lap 18, coming into Champions Corner, was the biggest one of the night for me. That's an interesting one. I was being followed by Gabriel for position, and it was going well. He got a good slipstream on me, and my braking point is the 3 marker because that gets me nice and slowed down from the corner. And then gives me good rotation. So I was getting in there and I just get absolutely smashed from behind.
So what can you do to put tonight behind you? Donington's up next week, which is actually a fairly quick track, one that might suit you. So what's your feeling heading into next week? It's going to be a heavy day for Donington for me next week because I'm not only there in sim racing, but I'm then there spannering for a race team at the weekend. Nice.
So I'm going to have a heavy week of Donington next week.
Nice.
I like Donington. I've driven there in real life, and I know it well enough. So I am looking forward to it. And again, Craners is one to be careful of because of the oversteer. If it gets there, but hoping for a dry track. But I do know it well, and I seem to be all right there. So yeah, we should be going well.
Fantastic. Okay, so before you head off, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, or sponsors?
All the team. Give a shout out to W Energy, Capture Clothing, and then Mords.
Excellent stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for speaking to us yet again, John. Bad luck tonight. Hopefully next week goes well for you. Thanks for chatting to us. We'll see you next week.
No worries. Have a good evening. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
There we go. And we're going to go straight into our next interview, which is going to be with fellow Mission R driver, but the winner of the bronze category is Adam Wilson-Weir. Adam, can you hear us first of all?
I can indeed. Alex, hello.
Yeah, there we go. Welcome back to the comms booth, Adam. Congratulations, winner in the first endurance round of the season in bronze category. Just tell us how you're feeling and just talk through the main highlights of that race.
Yeah, really happy about that. As I say, it's more of a technical track, this one, so again, it suits me better. So I'm well happy with that, especially in an endurance race. At the start, we had a little bit of a bump on the wall, so I had aero damage, and it was, I think Gabriel was just in front, and it was just fighting to keep up. He would pull away, then I would catch in the corners. It was just back and forward, cat and mouse. But after the pit stop, I decided the undercutting because I noticed I was getting a bit more speed on the final chicane, so decided to box, get some fuel, and then I was able to manage the undercut, then put my pace in with the fast repair, so really good.
Fantastic stuff. So that's your third win of the season. Quite a contrast to Watkins Glen last week, so you must be feeling, at this point, pretty confident about the season ahead.
Yeah, well, I had to redeem myself from last week. It was a terrible race for me, so I put everything in it today. Especially with the way the race was going, we weren't too sure about fuel. We were pretty sure we were going to have to do a third stop, but I think the two yellow flags, the two yellow flags helped save the bit. And then at the end, I think I only had, I don't know, maybe about one lap left to finish. Had the fuel save a tiny bit, just a couple of laps, but at the end, overall, really happy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that you were. That's what you're saying. You were a little bit nervous about fuel before the cautions came along, and that did the trick effectively. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helped. I mean, we were able to get into a higher gear, just at lower RPM. So, I mean, it worked. A couple of laps. I only had to save for about 5 laps after that. That's why the times dropped a bit, but yeah, that's what was happening there.
And there were periods during that race where Stein and Rob were closing up to you. Is that literally how the race was kind of fluctuating? It is, you had to manage the race pace a little bit and manage the tyres and manage the fuel quite a bit.
That's pretty much it, Alex. It's all about management, this one. The track was getting a bit greasy, especially coming up to the next pit stop, and you just have to nurse them, as I say, especially with fuel as well. It's just all about thinking ahead, like how are you going to gain that advantage for the next stint.
Brilliant stuff. Good insight there into all that, so thank you very much for that. Now, Donington Park's next week. Not a track we've raced on yet in this series, but how is that track for you?
I think it's a bit of a mixture of a fast and technical track, especially with there's a couple of off-camber corners and stuff as well. I've raced it before in different leagues, so I'm kind of familiar with it, but it wouldn't be my favourite.
Oh, don't break my heart, it's my favourite. I'm really looking forward to it. I wish I was driving. Can you take over me, please? I'll have to
You can
drive.
jump in for me, Alex. We'll sub you in.
There we go. So, yeah, hearing the next-gen admins in my head say, no, you don't. Right, so, floor is yours. Anybody you want to give a shout-out to? Family, friends, sponsors, etc.?
yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all the guys in the team. Fantastic results. Bit of a mixture. I mean, it's a tough track, so it's expected. I just want to give all a shout out to the sponsors too, and my wife and father-in-law who may be watching. So, yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Well done yet again, Adam. A third win of the season. You're in the lead of the championship. So far, so good. Well done.
Thank you very much, Alex. May it last.
Right, there we go. Big thank you to the Michelin guys joining us in the comms booth tonight. Now, we have our outright race winner joining us in the comms booth next. We have got Corey Price joining us in the comms booth right now for the first time this season. First time ever, actually. So first of all, Corey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Let me just turn you up a little bit and then we'll get going. Right, okay. So, Corey, congratulations. Outright race winner, gold category winner here at NXTGEN Racing GT3 League. First of all, initial reaction, how do you feel?
A bit nervous. Me and my teammate Jake, we had a bit of nervous breakdown with fuel. We thought we were going to be under fueling, but when the 2 yellow flags came out, they just saved the whole race for us.
Yeah.
And
so was it looking like
since-
you would have had to have pit if the cautions didn't come out?
Yeah, my strategy was just full send it really, like no fuel save, just full send it. But them 2 yellow flags saved my race.
Just as well then, isn't it? Brilliant. Now, throughout the race, you and Jake were almost inseparable. What was... Because I couldn't quite tell if you were on maximum attack, trying to overtake Jake or not. What was the plan throughout the race? Were you trying to get into first place, or were you and Jake working together?
Well, we was working together most of the race, especially the first and second stint. But this back marker held us, and we decided to switch positions as I saved more tyres and fuel. And over the period of the second stint, Jake got a slowdown, which was 3 seconds, and I just pulled away ever since and couldn't help him.
Amazing stuff. So, is this going to set the precedent for the season? Because, to be honest, your pace is really good tonight. You were just able to stay away from everyone else. Do you feel like that this will you can carry the momentum forward now and use this pace in future rounds?
Well, there's some tracks that I'm not good at, like Donington. What else is there? I think Bathurst is one. But if I have a bit more practice, I think I'll be able to be up there. I think I should be able to.
Amazing stuff. Hopefully we do. So, I think you are the first Aztec Racing driver to win a race outright. So I'm giving you the opportunity here to give a good shout out to any friends, family, the team or sponsors that may be watching. So, go for it.
I would like to thank Aztec for this opportunity and Jake for helping me as much as he possibly can. And obviously shout out to the sponsors. And yeah, this has been a great race, and yeah, looking forward to the next race.
Fantastic, and you should. You're 4th in the championship heading into next week. So, yeah, Corey, congratulations. We'll see you next week at Donington.
See ya.
Yeah, what a brilliant race Corey drove tonight. Him and Jake Pitt were brilliant. They worked together really, really well. Didn't quite work out for Jake Pitt tonight, but 3rd place still for Jake. Still incredible for my fellow compatriot, the Welshman. But yeah, Corey Price, I'm fairly sure it is a first outright win in the series for Aztec Racing. I might be wrong, but I'm using my memory, which stretches 2 seasons, if that. 3 if you include this one. But there we go. That is going to round off our night, ladies and gentlemen. We've had 3 sets of interviews. We've had some great racing tonight. So, Without further ado, let's review the championship standings heading out of tonight. So we'll start with the gold category. Taking the lead in the championship, going as he left last season. He's back to the number 1 status in this season at the moment. Ben McCluskey leads the championship tonight following his 2nd place finish tonight. On 119 points, a very healthy lead over Łukasz Sidor, who did not have such a good night. It was looking very good for him, but a penalty for him meant he had to come to the pits, and he lost a lot of positions as a result. He made back up to 12th position, I believe. It's 8 points for him, but this will probably serve as an early drop round for him. The 2nd place in the standings heading out tonight, but 4 points ahead of Harry Langford, who's been nice and consistent and actually improving as the season has gone on so far. Another strong night for Harry Langford gets him 3rd place in the standings out of tonight. Corey Price, with his win tonight, shoots up to 4th in the standings. And actually, before tonight, he was 17th in the standings, and he shot up to 4th now. Fantastic from Corey in his 3rd race in the series. Jack Pittas is a silent assassin at the moment. 5th position for him. Nice consistent results, gets him that top 5 in the standings. Stefan Wessels retired from this race early on, unfortunately. Hopefully he can pick himself back up for the next couple of rounds. But 6th place for him at the moment, with Mike Barber in 7th, Gaz Williams 8th, Jesse Payne-Wilkins in 9th, and Jamie Dory 10th. And Jake Pitt, who finished 3rd in this race, is 11th in the standings. Over to the silver category now, and Matthew Cheverton still leads the championship, but with Jeffrey Kruger winning the race and getting the bonus point fastest lap, taking it away from Alan McCain in the latter part of the race, now has an 8-point gap to Cheverton at the top. Matthew Eddy, another strong night for him. 4th place tonight, 3rd place in the standings. Phil McDougall in 4th position there, keeps his position from Nigel Stock in 5th position. Alan McCain, with his strong result tonight, shoots up to 6th in the standings, with George Stone, his best result of the season, 7th place for him. Jason Raff up to 8th position, and Mark Baker in 9th, with Lewis Mason in 10th. Bronze category now, and Adam Wilson-Weir now has a dominant lead in the championship there with his win and bonus points tonight. He leads the championship to 81 points scored by Gabriel Papaconstantino there in 2nd position. Rob Savage moves into 3rd position in the standings following his 3rd place tonight, with Simon Hunt in 4th position. Stein Vaten's 5th position from Elwyn Sykes, last season's champion. Danny Switzer missed tonight, so he's down to 7th, with Stephen Gravelia in 8th. Sammy Ariba in 9th, and Andy Chell down to 10th. Teams Championship, Mission R, powered by Mords. We spoke to one of the 3 drivers from that team tonight, and they're doing very, very well indeed. A 19-point lead in the championship for their drivers, Adam Wilson-Weir, George Stone and Łukasz Sidor. And in 2nd place is Aztec Racing with Ford Mustang. Of course, Matthew Cheverton scoring the majority of the points for that team, and Gabriel Papaconstantino doing plenty in the bronze category as well. And Gabriel Yilmaz making up a few points as well in bronze category. CSA Team Woza, piloted by Stefan Wessels, Jeffrey Kruger and Carlo Stason. Tonight, not bad for them, with Jeffrey Kruger getting plenty of points, but Carlo Stason and Stefan Wessels, they probably would have felt their night could have gone better. But we'll see how they get on in the future rounds. Quatermass and Quatermass Motorsport 2 are still 4th and 5th. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That has been round 3 of the championship from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Canada. Next week, we're back in Britain. Donington Park hosts next week, and the last time we had a GT3 race in Britain, I think was season 4 actually at NXTGEN Racing. So very much looking forward to next week. It's going to be a very interesting round at one of my favourite tracks, Donington Park, next week. Join us live at 20 minutes to 8 o'clock UK time. Join us live on Kick, Facebook and YouTube at NXTGEN Racing TV to catch the action as it happens live. I've been Alex Everett, your commentator tonight, and this has been the NXTGEN Racing GT3 Season 7, Round 3 of the Championship. Your winners from tonight: Corey Price taking a first win in the gold, Jeffrey Kruger in the final moments of the silver category taking the win, and Adam Wilson-Weir, another dominant performance for him in the bronze category. A huge thank you to our partners, sponsors and affiliates: PowerMax, Mark Sykes Designs, Benji Sim Photos, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Sam Cases, Moser Racing, Joyce Design, Falcon and PC, and Doble Motorcycles. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Next Gen Racing TV. We'll see you next time at Donington Park. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.